Breathing apparatus! Now, come on, now, get back.
What's going on?
Looks like a bad one, doesn't it?
Yeah.
From Station Officer Jones at number 14 Coronation Street. Persons reported. 1-2. Over.
Search upstairs.
Okay. What was that here?
Occupier's wife believed to be inside, sir. 2 men are searching upstairs now.
Have you tried the ground?
We're doing that now, sir. There's a hose reel inside. I've ordered the breathing apparatus.
What did he say?
Couldn't hear him.
Hey, what's that for?
Well, they always send one of them to a domestic incident, just in case, like.
Cat and Val are trying to say what they can, are they?
It really is best you don't go any further.
Please, leave everything pass!
No, sir.
I'm not moving from
back
here.
down. Look,
I'm not moving. Wife's up there!
I'll look out.
Just ordered the first round of drinks. It was his farewell party, you see, when... Billy, you weren't in there, were you?
No, Mum.
Is anybody?
Val.
Oh, Val! Hey, Val's in there!
Get the stretcher up here.
Here, she hasn't got the twins with her, has she? I thought they were spending the night at Mr. Tatlock's. Oh, yeah, that's right. Can you see him anywhere? Perhaps he hasn't heard. I mean, you know how deaf he can be sometimes. Hey, I'll go and see. Yeah.
I wouldn't say too much until we know what's what up there.
Come in. Oh, hello, love.
Hello, I just popped into, are the twins in bed?
I took them in an hour since.
Oh, they'll be asleep then.
Oh, I've never had any trouble with them since the day they were born. Hey, and do you know what does the trick? Tipperary. I sing them to sleep with it. I always have them. But I don't reckon I'll get much sense in future. Hey, what's up a minute? That weren't one of them crying, were it?
No, no.
Well, I definitely heard something. You know, it's a funny thing. I can't imagine them kids going away somehow. I don't think I'll believe it until they're actually gone. Hey, I'll tell you what. Let's go upstairs and have a look at them in bed, shall we? We might be lucky, you know. One of them might wake up for us. Come on. Here's something. It's quite a commotion what's going on out there.
There's been a bit of a fire.
Bit of a fire. What, somebody's chip pan flared up?
I don't know.
Where?
In the street, in one of the flats.
Take them to the hospital.
Thank you.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to bother you, but is she going to be all right?
We're doing all we can, love.
Oh.
Oh, the kettle's simmering. It'll boil right away.
I think a drink of brandy would do more good right now. Where's your coat, Albert?
Hung up behind the door. She did look bad in the ambulance, did our Valerie.
Yes. Where'd you keep your cap?
In my pocket.
You'll be all right for staying till we get back.
Oh, yeah, of course I will.
Right.
Are they still asleep?
Yeah, I popped in while she was out.
Ah.
We'll just be at the Rovers if you want us for anything.
Mrs. Sharples.
I've no idea, love. Kenneth went with her in the ambulance, and that sometimes means we'll just have to wait and see what the infirmary have to say. It's all we can do.
Come in, sweetheart.
Is there any hope? Get her inside.
I know she'll be in casualty ward. They're usually very difficult about making telephone calls.
Well, there's no harm in ringing and saying it's a relative call, is there?
Well, I am a relative in a roundabout sort of way. Do you want me to phone?
Look, Len's gone down in the van. He said he'd come straight back here as soon as he got something to report.
All the same, you could give him a ring, Irma. I mean, Len might not be back for ages.
They were very good. They did everything they could. Everybody did.
Ken. Albert's in the back, mate.
Oh, Uncle Albert, yeah.
Come on, he's in the living room. I'll take you through.
Elizabeth, would you like to pour 2 glasses of brandy for Kenneth and Mr. Tatlock? Yeah.
Kenneth's back, Albert. I'll see you a bit later on, most likely.
Suppose she'll want a nightie. Didn't they ask you to bring a face cloth and a nightie? Don't speak, Ken. Don't tell me. I don't want to be here.
Thank you, Betty. If it's any help, she didn't suffer. Drink this, Uncle Albert.
Apparently, Val wasn't breathing when they brought her out of the flat. His oppo had that oxygen thing on her all the way to the hospital, but she didn't come round at all.
Must have been the fumes, then.
Or the fire?
No. Now, what they think happened, they only think, they don't know. You see, when they found Val, she was lying next to an electric fire that had fallen over. They think that is what started the big fire.
So it was the fire?
No. She was dead before the fire started. She was electrocuted. That's what they reckon. Electrocuted.
But how?
Well, one of the firemen told Jack that there was a faulty switch, a faulty plug on Val's hairdryer.
Oh, no.
His theory is, you see, that she had both the hairdryer plug and the electric fire plug in an adapter. It happened when she plugged the adapter into a wall socket.
An electric plug? You mean 2 kids have lost their mum just because of an electric plug?
It's no consolation, it's no comfort, I know. But the ambulance men turn out about a dozen times a month for incidents involving plugs.
You're right, it isn't any comfort.
I'm just taking Uncle Albert home. I shall be staying with him tonight. Are they all right?
Yeah, they're fast asleep.
Well, I think I'll go and sit in the kids' room for a bit.
I've had my life. I've had a good run. Why couldn't it take me instead of Valerie?
Do we have to have a party?
What would you sooner?
Oh, you know, just spend it here, just the 2 of us, nothing special.
Do you mean to say that there's nothing special about the two?
Oh, you know what I mean.
All right, well, I'll tell you what we do. I know what you mean. We'll nip out early, shall we?
There'll be no kids here waking up and coming in. We're going to have it all to ourselves.
I'm with you.
Nice to meet you at last, Mrs. Barlow.
Oh, Val, please.
Val? Where's the sherry, love?
The sherry?
Yes, love, the sherry.
I put it under the sink.
Put it under the...
You must have heard of me.
What a pity your wife couldn't come round. I'd like to...
Yes, it is a pity. She died, you see.
Oh. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hello, Mrs. Sharples.
Good morning. I want a £5 bag of potatoes and a tin of luncheon meat. I don't know what Albert Taflock lives on. He must have the thinnest mice for miles.
Have you been in to see him this morning?
I went round earlier on and made a breakfast for him. The twins are used to me with me babysitting for him. Oh, that reminds me. I'll take a quarter packet of chocolate fingers while I think on.
Kenneth, won't have told the twins anything yet?
No, not yet. Mind you, it's not something you can put off for long. Children cotton onto an atmosphere very quickly. So if he thinks he could miss telling them for 2 or 3 days, he's got to... What are you looking at?
I saw Ken going into the flat just as you came in. I was just thinking what an awful feeling. Oh, you know, Mrs. Sharples.
I know.
Oh, come on, got to put your face on. Look, why not come with the one that God gave you? We both happen to like it.
So we've made the decision. We're going. Definite.
Now, don't you undermine me. We're going.
We're going.
My God. We are. We're going!
Oh, hello, Mrs. Sharple.
Hello.
How's Susan and Peter?
Oh, not so good. They've started asking for Val, and When are they going to their grannies?
Oh, well, it's only to be expected, I suppose. I mean, fancy waking up when you're only 6 and you find no mammy there.
Yeah, poor little mites.
Kenneth, love, if you want to use the telephone, please don't keep asking permission. I'd much rather you just helped yourself.
Thank you, Miss Walker. Has anyone from the coroner's office been on?
Len. Oh.
Yeah, the coroner said, can you be down at the coroner's office at 12:30 today?
Today?
Well, it's only so that you can get things over as fast as possible. You'll only be there for 5 minutes. After you've done that, you can make arrangements for the funeral.
Yeah, well, 12:30 will be fine, thanks, then.
I'll run you down in the van if you like.
Oh, thanks again. Thank you, Len. Mrs. Walker, do you mind if I do use the telephone? I'd like to ring up Mr. and Mrs. Tatlock in Glasgow. Thank you.
I suppose he's inviting them all down to the funeral. Oh, I don't think so, love. His father-in-law's been bedridden all winter. His chest, you know.
Well, perhaps Mrs. Tatlock could come on her own.
I don't think it's as easy as that, Mrs. Caldwell.
Did Kenneth say when the funeral would be?
No, not as yet, Mrs. Caldwell.
It causes such a lot of work, doesn't it? All those people concerned and involved. As if death was more important
Pardon, Handel.
Nothing, Minnie, nothing.
I'm afraid that Mrs. Tatlock can't come to the funeral. It seems there's a problem getting someone to look after Mr. Tatlock at such short notice. Anyway, I'm sending the kids up to Glasgow today, if possible. We decided it's better if Val's mum should tell them. Well, I don't think I could and send them away.
Have you anyone in mind, Ken, to take the kids up?
No, I'm not going to.
I'll take them up for you if you like.
Honestly.
Yeah, well, it's no trouble. How do we get there?
In my van.
Oh,
All right.
But it's such a long way to Glasgow. It just drags on and on.
I like driving anyway. It'd be a sight better for Lucille than having to load cases all about the place. Does that sound all right with you, Spider?
Yeah.
I think we'd better get down to the coroner's office.
Your mind isn't on things the day after. All you do is feel sorry for yourself. It's not the day after somebody dies. It's the month after and the months after
The
that.
thing that bothers me is when you're born, you're told to live to probably 70. Okay, fair enough, lucky if you are. If not, well, unlucky, eh? But why Val? She was only, what, 28, wasn't she? Doesn't make sense, does it? Oh, I know these parsons tell you it's the will of God, but to my way, they're just a flippin' excuse.
We don't agree much as a rule, do we, Dad?
Oh, I don't know. You've been traipsing in and out all day. Fellas going into the flat. We've had policemen, firemen, chaps from the town hall I've recognised. I think something's going on.
Right, you'll be good, you two, for your Uncle Ray, won't you?
Why do you want me taking us to see Grandma?
Well, because Grandma wants to see you, and Daddy's got a lot of things to do.
What?
Oh, a lot of things. For Mummy.
Look, I think we've got to get off now, mate.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Hold a minute.
Ooh, can you manage to get in there?
Away from me.
Can you manage to get it? Well, because me and Ray...
Well, thanks very much, Ray. I can't say. For both of you, thanks a lot. It's terrific. We'll be in touch. Good. Well, have a good trip.
I'm sorry I'm late, Mr. Weaver. I've just been with the tenant of this flat, actually. It's not very pleasant seeing to his wife's inquest.
That's all right, Councillor Fairclough. I've had plenty of time to look around, and I'd rather do that on my own.
What's the object of the exercise, anyway?
In my opinion, this fire has revealed some very serious structural faults. Look. And I've been asked to prepare a report.
Oh, I see. To put them right, like.
I'm going to recommend, in the interests of safety, that this whole block of flats should be pulled down.
I don't know, I suppose.
It's not easy, is it?
What did you put on yours?
I don't know. Our Betty wrote it. I joined with her and Cyril. We got the flowers from the same place as Mrs. Walker and Miss Nugent. We sent them all from the Rovers.
Got mine from Nesbitt's.
Oh.
Well, there's nothing much you can put, really. Only who it's from.
Oh, aye, shall I put that?
Yeah.
From Irma Barlow.
You don't need the Barlow. There's only one Irma.
Oh, aye. Oh, don't you have some rotten jobs to do, eh?
Oh, you're open then.
Oh, hello, man.
I said you're open then.
Yes, why?
Why? With Valerie lying in her coffin.
Oh,
I should...
all right, ma'am.
Well, it's only down the street.
I says don't go on.
I'm not going on, Chuck, only it is usual for shops to close. We're closing later on, Hilda, just before the funeral. There's no point in shutting any sooner. People want things, you know, no matter what. It must seem strange, Frank, coming back after all these years.
Aye. Well, things are not the same. Well, I mean, they wouldn't be, would they?
No.
What's it like in Bramwell then, all right? Is it?
Oh, it's nice, nice. Very nice indeed, Bill.
Yes, they do say it's nice.
Hello, Mrs. Sharples, come on in.
Stay we are, lad.
Do you want a cup of tea, Mrs. Sharples?
That would be nice, thank you. Ooh, I've just been going round at Tatlock's. Ooh, there's some lovely flowers. There's a spray just come from that college of Ken's. By gum, the work that's gone into it.
It's an art, you know. An art. I wonder, would you excuse me?
Yes, of course, Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Thank you, love.
Oh, I'd better get myself... make yourselves at home and help yourself to some more tea.
Thank you, we will. He's grown up to be a nice lad. Well, we've seen one or two funerals between us, Frank.
Too many.
And there'll be more. You and me won't stop 'em.
It's the ones that you miss that worry you.
Like your David.
I like our Davids.
Now, lad, you want to put that behind you. The sun's shining on him, he's at rest. But think on, you've got another son still living that needs all the help you can give him.
No, Kenneth. I seem to have done everything wrong with Valerie and
Don't worry, don't worry.
but I was so impulsive.
She was very fond of you, you know.
I'm sorry.
So believe me, Miss Eden, she was very, very fond of you.
I'm sorry I shouldn't. You've got so much.
It's all right. Well, I better get along to Uncle Albert's now. They'll all be waiting for me.
Hey, I'll tell you what. You finish your drink and I'll go and see if everyone's all right, too. Who's coming? Anyone special?
No, only relatives.
Did you see it in the paper?
Yes, Evening News.
Come far, have you?
Oh, no, just the other side of town.
I see you've still got that cough.
What cough?
They make you despair, don't they?
I'm from Whaley Bridge myself.
That's very nice.
Yeah. It's Derbyshire, you know.
Oh, hello, everybody. Ken's on his way. Just told me to tell you. Would anyone like a cup of tea?
Oh, there's a good girl. I say, it's not tea bags, is it?
Well, I don't know.
Ridiculous tea bags.
I was only asking.
And anyhow, what's wrong with tea bags?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with tea bags. I told you I was only asking. Don't keep picking on everything I say. If you behave like this, I'm not coming anymore.
Good.
I've been trying to place you, and I think I've got it right now. It's Mr. Robbins, isn't it?
Oh, yes, that's right, Dave Robbins.
Yeah. You remember Mr. Robbins, don't you, Stan? He's a friend of... you was a friend of Valerie's, wasn't you?
Well, a colleague of Ken's, actually.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Ken.
Busy?
Oh, dear.
Hello?
I read it in the paper.
Good of you to come.
Look, sit you down here.
No, that's all right.
Go on, I grow standing up. Hey, where's that tea? You wouldn't last so long in my mob, I'll tell you.
Do you know, it's 10 years this September since we buried your mother.
Nay, it's never that long.
It is, you know, September 1961, from next door, number 3.
Wait. You're right. 10 years.
Oh, it were a terrible day. Only it all went off very well.
Right, tea up, everybody.
And about time, I know.
Luke, I've made you some sandwiches. I think you ought to eat some. Hey,
Sorry.
come on, get us something down you.
Nothing.
Right, we're ready.
Yes, love.
Well, where are we going?
Tatlock's, isn't it? We're all gathering at Tatlock's. There'll be a drink there later on, love, if you're not feeling so good.
I know, and salmon paste, butties and trifle if we're lucky. Like something out of the Dark Ages. Don't know why people can't just disappear into smoke when they die.
It'd be easy, wouldn't it?
Oh, look, hadn't we better give Alan a knock?
No, he won't be coming. Elsie's up to the eyeballs in flu.
So I told her I'd smack her bottom if she didn't get back into bed.
No, she'd have been daft to come. Still they are, aren't they?
Well, about that tribal customs, they are, yes. However, she did go back to bed, on condition that I could make an appearance. I suppose it's well if we're represented.
It's the same with my mum and Betty. They both wanted to go, so I said I'd stay in and look after the bar. Here, it can't be.
Hello, Billy.
There's a live and breathe Esther Ace. Mum!
Oh, how are you? Oh, fine.
Oh, you don't know Alan, do you?
No.
Alan Howard, Esther Ace. Alan actually married Elsie.
Oh, hello. I've heard so much about you.
Hello.
How is Elsie?
Well, she's got flu at the moment. If you don't mind catching a few germs, call in and see her.
Oh, I'd like to. Esther, Mrs. Walker, love.
It's been a long time.
It certainly has. It's awful, isn't it?
I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
Here, can I have mine? Oh, Uncle Albert must have picked mine up when I was showing my shirt or something.
Here.
You sure?
Oh, yes, I dug 2 out this morning. I can put my hand straight onto the one, no trouble.
Thank you.
I'll just nip and get that other tie.
Hey, did you know I saw him?
Oh, you there?
Hello, Ken.
Hello,
Don't know what to say.
It's bad, isn't it? Let me take your coat.
Oh, thanks. Christine rang me last night. Wanted to know if I was coming. She's in Southampton now, you know.
Oh, I didn't know.
She sends her love, and I've got to tell you she's thinking of you and she's writing to you.
That's good of her. Come on, Esther.
Hey, it's Esther Ace.
Oh, Frank.
Hello, Esther, love. Yes, I where have you come from?
Only Nottingham.
Well, that's far enough.
Hello, Mrs. Sharples.
Hello, love. Nice to see
Mrs.
you.
Caldwell.
Hello, love.
Hello, Lucille.
Hey, don't I get an hello?
Oh, of course you do.
I should think.
Here, Ken, you have my seat. I'll see if I can squeeze the pot.
Oh, don't bother, love. Oh.
How's there? Are all the cars coming around the house? Then?
Yes, they should be here in a minute. I thought perhaps just me and Dad in the first car.
There you are, the sugar on the table.
Oh, thanks, Lucille.
We was just saying earlier on, Frank, it's 10 years since your Ida went.
Aye.
It's a great healer this time. Frank will
Aye,
tell you that.
It's a true saying, is that, Mrs. Sharples?
Yes.
Mr. Barlow, We're ready now.
Makes you feel like that, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. What are you going to have?
I'll just have half a mile, please.
Eh?
Yeah, I'll have a cent.
2 hours a mile and a half a bitter, whatever you're going to have, Billy.
How'd it go?
Oh, not a bad service, as services go.
That vicar looks like a schoolboy. He spoke well enough, I'll say that for him.
Oh, it beats me. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason in it. A few days since she's happy and laughing. Today she's in a box. Oh, she was a great girl, you know.
Makes you wonder why we never believe in anything more again, doesn't it?
Do you?
Well, I do. God knows why.
If he does, he's not telling.
Oh, Malcolm Muggeridge might have one or two of the answers, but I'm blowed if I know what it's all about.
Stop worrying.
You drive yourself round a twist.
Elsie and I went over there for a meal a couple of weeks ago. And she was full of this Jamaica business, you know, talking about Ken and his new job. She was as pleased as punch. What do I owe you, Bill?
Oh, forget it. You reckon he'll still go?
That might be a good thing.
Oh, come on in. I hope we're doing the right thing.
Well, there's enough people there, dear. Well, it seems such a little house. Yes, it wouldn't be so bad if his furniture weren't so big.
Would you like to, pick yourself some cake from the shelves? I've not baked this week, I'm afraid.
Oh, shop cake, is it? What's the matter, Joe?
I keep seeing her there.
Now, does anyone else fancy Swiss roll?
I must be very selfish.
You what, love?
All I could think of this morning was whether Valerie had forgiven me for... as if he's not got enough to put up with. Poor, poor Ken.
Now, love, it's up to all of us to make things easier for him. Yes, of course it is.
I think we've been introduced. My name's Dave Robbins.
Oh, no. But I've heard a lot about him.
Would you like a donut?
No, thanks,
no, thank you.
Would you, love?
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Caldwell. Thank you.
Do you know what time the buses go back into town?
I don't know. They very often. I think it's every 10 minutes.
I suppose I better be going. Ken, I think I better be going, mate. I've got a lecture early this afternoon.
They'll only go off.
So.
I would like some beef pudding to have that down, would you?
Again.
Oh, thanks for coming, Dave.
Ken, do you mind if I talk about her?
She's what this is all about, the food and the sherry and everything, yet nobody seems to want to talk about her. I'd like to.
Oh. She thought the world of you, mate.
I thought the world of her. But I don't know if she knew it.
Yes, she did. She did, mate.
Thanks, sir.
Look, when you're ready, you got my phone number, haven't you? We'll have a night out together, eh?
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks again. Thanks for coming. Great. See you.
Go on.
Oh, come on, Dad. We only see each other every Preston Guild. Now, keep still, everybody. Right. Oh, there you are, Ken. Come on, love, get in the middle.
Oh, fuss, fuss, fuss.
Now, Dad, it's for Norman. You know, it doesn't see much of you. Now, keep still and watch the dicky bird, everybody. Oh, I hope to get this right. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
Yeah.
there we
and
are.
about time and all.
All right, right, stay where you are. I want to be on one, don't I? Would you take it for me, Irma, please? I know you're not really one of us, are you? Oh, you never counted. I wasn't ready.
Well, that's not fresh. You never are ready.
Oh,
excuse me.
Dear.
Ken's going to Glasgow, is he?
Yes, 4:30 from Victoria.
Yeah, 4:33.
Go on, make me a liar for 3 minutes.
Gets into Glasgow 9:19.
Well, it's a fairish distance, but his children are at the other end, so that'll make it seem quicker.
Anybody fancy another sherry?
Yes, go fetch that bottle and it's a pity to waste it. Where did I put my glasses? I don't know.
Ken?
Ken? Oh, I've only come because I know it's worse when you're by yourself. I'll go if you want me to, though.
You know what this is all about, don't you?
Okay. I loved him, you know. You can't keep shouting about it, but I did love him. Not all the time, but enough. And everyone kept saying to me, why don't you have a good cry? You'll get over it. Go on, just have a good cry, but you don't. Things are never the same. I just had a pain, and you've got a pain, haven't you, all in there? And that goes, but it's not the same. You do miss them. I think that shows that you love them if you miss them, doesn't it?
You go now.
Will you come back with me? I don't want to leave you by yourself.
No, not by myself. I'll pack my bags downstairs. I'll just go into town, have a meal and then catch the train.
She loved you, you know.
Everyone says that.
Everyone's right.
Well, are you coming with me or not?
No, I'm not.
Hey, Dad, you know we'd be glad to have you.
Yes, well, I wouldn't be glad to have you any road. Cuts both ways, you know. Besides, I'm not easy to live with these days, love, and I wouldn't want you to be getting sick of me.
Well, look after yourself. Oh, I won't make a fuss.
All right, I'll tell them.
Bye.
Ta-ta. Ta-ta. Do you reckon she wants you?
I'll give her benefit of doubt.
I think you're very wise not going. I'd stick it out as long as you can.
Oh, don't throw that hot water away. Table's not sided yet.
Oh, I'll leave it to me. I'll see to it.
Ken's gone. He said to say goodbye and he'll phone you from Glasgow.
Oh, yeah, I thought he'd do something like that.
Come on, Albert. Get your bonnet and shawl on. You're going for something to eat.
Now, don't worry about me. I'm going to tidy this lot away.
Now, you'll do no such thing. I'll soon have something on the table for you, and Enoch can come and all. Them sandwiches don't fill nobody.
Now, look.
Shut up and do as you're told
that's
for
quite
once.
enough from you.
Come on,
get
get
on.
going.
Now, you're coming back with us. Come along.
Keep on bothering me. Just leave me alone.
You're going to have a
You'll
nice
enjoy it. It'll be a change for you.
Yes, come on.
Be alone.
Time, gentlemen.
Helen? Oh, no. Thank you, Billy.
I'll see you down there, eh?
Yep, I'll see you down there, mate.
Will you empty your glasses, please?
That bloke Weaver was in here earlier on. He reckons they're going to start evacuating the flats tomorrow morning.
All right, they can get their skates on when they want to.
Yeah, I didn't know the council could move so fast. I thought they had a speed limit of 1 decision a year.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen some councils in my town. This is one of the best.
I shouldn't let Len hear you saying that, mate. He'll have you writing all his speeches for him.
Billy Walker, hey, whose side are you on? Let's have these glasses, please.
Go on, lads. It's not a bad day to see the back of.
Hello.
Oh, Len.
Yeah? Don't say I never give you out. Get that down here. But get to bed first, and then you won't have so far to fall. I'll drop the cats down on my way out. You might have burglars.
Right. I'm off then, love.
All right, thanks very much. See you tomorrow.
Right. Now, love.
Right. Mind how you go.
Yeah.
And watch out for stray sailors, won't you?
I'll get it.
Here's yours.
Hello.
Oh, boy, am I ready for that.
Thought you might be, love. It's been a long day.
Longer for some than for others, though.
It's selfish, I know, Billy. But somehow, when it happens to someone else, it makes your own loss easier to bear. I'm being selfish, aren't I?
No, not really. You know, speaking as someone who's not exactly renowned for deep thought, I reckon there's just so much happiness and so much grief. Just happens to be Ken's turn for the grief. Again.
Poor boy. Still, he'll be with his children now.
He won't. He won't. That was his mother-in-law on the phone from Glasgow. She went to meet the train at 9:20 and he wasn't on it. And she waited another hour. And then she waited for the next one after that and he still wasn't on it and there's no more trains. What's happened to him? What's happened to him?
Maybe he's gone to Kip.
No, not my Cyril. Not to see me come through that front door. Oh, hello, love. Did you think somebody'd run off with me? No, actually, love, I missed my last bus. He disappeared. Straight the way after the funeral. He was supposed to be on the 4:30 train to Glasgow, but he never turned up the other end. No, he wasn't on the next train either. No, not yet, love. Do you think we should? No. Well, perhaps you're right tonight. Anyway, love, Len's running me home, so I'll not be too late. Ta-ta, Joe. Ta-ta. Marcelo said there's not much point in getting in touch with the police, not just yet, you know. But if Ken hasn't returned by first thing tomorrow morning, then we should definitely report it.
That's that, then.
Poor lad. The state that he was in. I mean, he could have got on the wrong train or anything. We never should have let him go to that station on his own.
We had no choice, though, did we? One minute he was here, the next minute he'd disappeared.
Well, I won't put a cat out on a night like this. Oh, hello, love.
Hello, love. Did you see old Albert then?
Yes, I saw him.
Did he take it badly, love?
Well, he didn't get the chance.
Come again.
Well, when I got there, he was just sitting there. The fire was out, and he was just sitting there. I'm sorry. I realise I volunteered for the job, but seeing him in that state, I didn't feel I could burden him with anything further. Not tonight, anyway.
Never mind, love. By the time he wakes up tomorrow, it'll all be over, and Ken will be back safe and sound with a kid in Glasgow.
Am I late, or are you early this morning, Mrs. Colwell?
Oh, I couldn't sleep, so I got up to make a cup of tea, and then I found I hadn't got any.
Funny, I slept like a log last night. Woke up feeling quite guilty. Quarter to you.
Yes, thank you.
Well, at least the rain stopped.
Yes. You've not heard anything more, I suppose?
No. Len's ringing Glasgow first thing this morning. I shouldn't worry about him, Mrs. Colwell. He probably missed his connection and spent the night in a waiting room somewhere.
I've always found them very miserable places, railway waiting rooms.
Yeah, I suppose we all have.
During the war, me and Armistead had to spend one night on Crewe Station because of the bombing.
Oh, yeah?
There were a young man on his way home to Scotland. He only had a 48-hour pass, and so in the morning it wasn't worth it, so he just went back to his camp. His greatcoat were too big for him. I expect he's quite middle-aged now.
Don't worry, Mrs. Colwell.
It's one thing after another.
It's just a bad patch, that's all.
Hello.
Well, then.
Well, he hasn't arrived there, they say.
Or perhaps he caught an early morning train that just hasn't arrived yet.
Aye.
Ah, dear. How are the twins? Mrs. Tatlock say?
Fretting.
Well, they have been told about Val, then.
Oh, aye.
Is there any further news?
Nothing worth repeating, love, no.
I see.
Emily, if you don't want to tell Albert...
I can't think of anything I want to do less. However, each morning sees some task begin, each evening sees it through, as Longfellow put it. Although one does wonder if Longfellow ever quite found himself in this situation.
A right flaming mess, isn't it?
Have you rung the police?
No, not yet.
Do you want to use my phone?
No, I'll use the one down at the yard, thank you, love.
Morning. Hey, I said, kid, have you heard what I've just heard?
What about?
The flats.
Oh, about them being evacuated, you mean?
Oh, there's Queen Anne's dead. There's more than that. They've got to come down straight away, the whole block of them.
Who told you that?
It's all around Victoria Street. I'm in digs there now. What do you think, Maggie? Do you think there's anything in it?
I don't know. But I suppose we'll all find out soon enough.
Come in. Sit yourself down. I've got the kettle on.
Oh, well, I don't have a right lot of time, Mrs. Sharples.
A busy man, Alf Roberts, always has time. I suppose you take sugar.
Well, just one, please. Well, what can we do for you?
I take it you're still a councillor around here.
Aye.
Put where you are with the likes of folks like me.
Well, you could put it like that, yes.
Yes, right, then in that case you can tell me something.
I'll do my best.
What's going up when the flats come down?
Who says anything's going up?
I do.
What are you asking me about it for, then?
Would I be very wide of the mark if I said it was some sort of public building?
Where did you hear about this, Mrs. Sharples?
Oh, happened the little bird told me.
There's only one little bird round here could have told you anything. Len Fairclough. Well, am I right, or aren't I?
Am I?
You're putting me in a very awkward position, Mrs. Sharples.
Why, is it something to be ashamed of?
No, but there's a proper time and place for these things, you know.
Now listen to me, Councillor Roberts. This is not Soviet Russia, and I'm not here on behalf of the world press. All I want from you is a straight answer to a straight question. Is there, or is there not, some sort of public hall being put up on that site?
Well, not a public hall, exactly.
Well, what exactly?
Well, more of a community centre, you know.
It's not locked.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realise you had come.
Oh, it's all right, love, I'm just leaving.
Just a minute, Councillor. Now then.
Well, it's Mr. Tatlock.
Oh.
I'm afraid Ken still hasn't surfaced, and I got deputed to break the news to him. I did try to break it as gently as possible.
Where is he now?
He was at home, and he's just sort of sitting there in the chair.
Well, tell him I'll come round and see him in a minute.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I better get my skates on, Mrs. Sharples.
Now then, who's responsible for the running of this community centre?
The council, of course.
Which department of the town hall?
Welfare.
Thank you, Councillor.
Hey, you're not thinking of going down there shouting the odds about this, are you? Only it's early days yet.
I am not in the habit of shouting the odds about anything, Alf Roberts. Now, are you going to have a cup of tea with me, or aren't you?
Some other time.
Councillor.
Oh, sorry, I was just coming in to make the bed.
That's all right. I made it myself.
Oh, I'll just change the towels.
Fine.
Is the room all right then, Mr. Barlow?
Yes, it's fine.
So I know it's not exactly the Savoy, but then you wouldn't expect it round here, would you?
No, it's fine.
Do you know Weatherfield at all?
Very well.
I hope the trains didn't disturb you.
No.
Some people find trains very lonely, but me, I find them comforting myself. It makes me feel surrounded. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
The year me and me husband, well, ex-husband that is, went to the west of Ireland. All that silence. Never again, thank you. Will you be staying with us long, Mr. Barlow?
I don't know. Do you need to know?
No. We're always half empty this time of year. I leave it up because of the verse.
What?
Whenever a March wind sighs, he sets a jewel print of your feet in violets blue as your eyes. Mind you, I never was one much for poetry myself. Put off for life at school, I expect. Weren't you hungry for any breakfast then this morning?
Not very, no.
Oh, well, we've got some nice veal and ham pie for lunch. Are you feeling all right?
Yes, I'm perfectly all right, thank you.
You aren't feeling poorly?
No, I'm fine, really.
I can have lunch then.
Look, if I want lunch, I'll go and get it. Now, I've paid for this room, so for God's sake, leave me in peace in it.
Sorry, I'm sure.
Mrs. Sharples? Mrs. Sharples? Well, I'm sorry, Mrs. Parsons. Mrs. Sharples doesn't appear to be in just at present.
Oh, dear.
There's nothing I can do to help.
Well, not really. It was Mrs. Sharples we wanted to see.
Well, look, would you like to sit down for a minute? Perhaps she's just gone an errand.
Thank you.
Feel quite free to help yourself, Tony. I'm sure Mrs. Sharples won't mind.
Thanks.
Is everything still hunky-dory at school, then?
Oh, yes, fine. It's that we wanted to see Mrs. Sharples about.
Oh. He certainly doesn't seem to have lost his touch.
No, he's made great progress. Like father, like son.
Quite.
You've no idea where Mrs. Sharples might be, have you, Miss Nugent?
Well, there are several possibilities. Would you like us to go and look for her?
I think we'll have to. There isn't much time. You see, well, Tony owes a lot to Mrs. Sharples. Both of us do. And Tony's got this surprise for her. The only trouble is that we've left it rather late. And if we don't get hold of her within the next couple of hours, everything will be ruined.
Hey, love, here. Is it right that all this is a cover-up for the local strip club?
No, love. It's a rumour started by Mrs. Walker to attract a better type of customer.
Get away.
No, actually, it's a Salvation Army hostel for derelict council workers, so make yourselves entirely at home.
She's a bit cheeky with it and all, isn't she, eh?
Yes, well, she has to be, you see, love, because we get some very, very funny customers in here. Now, is there anything else you want while I'm here, like pies, chips, or a smack of the gob?
Now, no violence, please.
Anyway, what are you pair doing in here at this time of day? Shouldn't you be outside with Ward Bond and the rest of the wagon train helping them poor flat dwellers to move?
Dinner break, love. We've got to eat, you know.
Why?
I think you know Mrs. Parsons.
Oh, yes. How's Tony getting on?
Very well, thank you.
We're looking for Mrs. Sharples, actually.
Oh, yes.
She hasn't been in here yet.
Well, she was at Tatlock's earlier on, only she left.
You don't know where she went from there?
Oh, on an errand. She didn't say where.
Oh, dear.
Oh, is it something the matter?
Well,
Oh, well, of course, if it's something of a private nature.
Well, I don't think it would do any harm taking Mrs. Caldwell into our confidence. She is what one might call Mrs. Sharple's nearest and dearest, and I have a funny feeling we're going to need all the allies we can muster when we do catch up with Mrs. Sharples.
Right, that'll be 12 new pence to you, give or take a nuppence.
You what?
2 and 4.
You're new here, aren't you?
Oh, I'm not all that new, I'm very experienced.
Oh, I'll bet. You haven't seen Len Fairclough, have you?
He's down at Weatherfield Police Station. They wanted a snapshot of Ken Barlow.
Has he not turned up yet, then?
No. Makes you wonder what's going on in a fella's mind, doesn't it, when something like that happens to him?
Now, you are quite clear in your mind about what we're going to do.
Oh, yes. You take the high road and I'll take the low road. And then if we don't find her, we'll meet back at Ina's flat in half an hour.
Right.
Oh, it is exciting, Miss Nugent, isn't it? I can't wait to see Ina's face when I tell her.
Well, except, of course, that you've not got to tell her. Surprise is the operative word, I think.
Oh. Well, you can rely on me, Miss Nugent. I've got a will of iron when I make up my mind to it.
Right. I think you can leave it to us, Mrs. Parsons.
Thank you. And we'll expect to see her at...
about 6:15. God and Mrs. Sharples being willing.
It's a nice dress, is that?
Oh, don't talk to me about it.
What do you mean?
About dresses. Do you know, when I used to work at laundrette, nobody bothered if I turned up looking like something that had dropped off a flitting. But here, Mrs. Walker practically owes a kit inspection every time I take towels off. I've been through my entire wardrobe in about a month. You can't get stains off.
Well, you get a dress allowance, don't you?
Do I? Why do you think I should?
Of course I do. You wouldn't expect a postman or a policeman to pay for their own uniform, would you?
Hey, do you know, I never thought about it.
Hey, just a minute. Alf Roberts, you're a councillor, aren't you?
Why?
Well, are you or aren't you?
Aye, why?
Well, listen, tell me something. What kind of flats are going to go up there when those other flats come down?
Oh, not another. Look, I'm here to help with the flitting, right? I'm not even a councillor for this ward, so if you want to know anything, do me a favour, ask your own flaming councillor.
What did I say? Never mind what you said. It's what he's trying to hide that interests me.
You've got back, then?
Yes, I've got back, and if I'd known how far I was going to get when I got there, I wouldn't have bothered going. And it seems to me they've got plenty of everything in that information room at the town hall, but information.
What sort of information were you after, Ina?
Oh, you'll find out soon enough.
I've got some information.
What information?
I'm not at liberty to say. Wild horses wouldn't drag it out of me.
You what?
She made me cross my heart and hope to die, Ina, before she'd even tell me.
Who did?
I'm not at liberty to tell you, but she'll not be long. As a matter of fact, she's 3 minutes late as it is.
Minnie Cole, have you been at the Terps again?
You're wasting your time, Ina. She forewarned me. She said that if you got me on my own, you'd use all your cunning wiles to get it out of me.
It's finally happened. You've finally slipped over the edge at last.
Oh, Mrs. Sharples, at last.
Yes, before you do anything else, you better get downstairs and phone for the ambulance.
She did her best to get it out of me, but I didn't crack.
Oh, so you're in this as well?
All I can tell you, Mrs. Sharples, is that at 6 o'clock sharp this evening, a car will be arriving to take you there. Now, where, I'm not at liberty to say, and nothing you may say or do will glean another iota of information out of me about it.
It's a surprise, Ina.
Dress allowance for working in a pub.
Well, why not? You wouldn't expect postmen to go buy their own uniforms, would you?
Well, Mrs. Walker wouldn't expect us to go humping dirty big bags of letters all round the town either. Yes, love.
Same again, please, darling.
Right.
Well, what do you think, then?
Oh, don't ask me. I mean, I only work here the same as you.
Well, will you ask Mrs. Walker when she gets back from town?
Look, why the heck should? It's only you that's bothered about it.
You're the senior barmaid.
Lucky me. If I play my cards right, I should be on the board next year.
Will you?
Oh, I'll think about it. Shut up.
Bet? Yes, Miss Nugent. Your usual pint of black and tan, is it?
It's not a bad idea, Bet.
You are?
Mrs. Sharples and a magical mystery tour.
Come again?
Oh, it's a long story, Bet, and we simply hadn't time. But suffice it to say, Mrs. Sharples has a surprise treat this evening, and we wanted to look her best for it.
Oh, can I help?
Well, I seem to remember Lucille once mentioning that you were something of a dab hand with electric rollers.
You mean you want me to do her hair?
Oh, yes, if you wouldn't mind.
Mind? I've been waiting for years to find out if that's real hair she's got under her hairnet. Hang on while I get me implements.
Righto. Oh, Len.
Now, how did you get on down at the police station?
Oh, well, I gave them that snapshot they wanted. They said they'd send it off to the Glasgow police. They said they'd keep their eye open for him. They can't do any more, can they?
Right, love. One ancient vacuum cleaner for the use of. It cleans as it leaves the fluff. And if I was you, I'd get it seen too.
Just leave it there, will you, Norman?
Something wrong?
Yeah. These.
Smells smoky. Like they've been in a fire.
Yeah, quite.
Where is Mr. X, any road?
Oh, downstairs in the bar. I thought it'd be a chance to tidy up a bit. Funny.
What?
Well, everything about him, really. Do you know, he hasn't had a thing to eat since he got here. His bed hadn't even been slept in last night. I mean, he said he'd made it himself, but I knew he was lying. And when I asked him if he was all right, well, he nearly bit my head off.
He don't look like a commercial.
No.
Hey, you don't fancy him or something, do you?
Oh, don't be silly. I just feel that he's in some sort of trouble, that's all.
Aye, perhaps he's on run.
I think he is, but not in the way you mean.
Aye, well, back to the galley.
I was, just going to tidy up, but I can come back later.
Yes. Oh, Mrs. Chapel.
Yes?
You wouldn't happen to have a do not disturb sign handy, would you?
I think so. I'll send one up.
Thank you.
Mr. Barlow,
Yes.
there's no one I can contact for you.
No one.
You're not Len Fairclough. Not unless she's been hiding something from me.
Oh, hello, Alf.
The gaffer not around then?
Well, if he is, he's keeping very quiet about it. No, as a matter of fact, I'm looking for him myself. At least I was. I've just given up and settled for leaving him a note.
Oh, right.
Oh, hang on a minute. You're on the council, aren't you?
Oh, not you and all. Go on. What can I do for you?
Well, not me. Mr. Tatlock.
Oh, yes.
You've heard about Ken.
Aye, it's a bad do, that.
Well, Mr. Tatlock's worried sick about what to do with Ken's furniture, or what's left of it, after the evacuation.
There's no need to be.
Hasn't he?
No, the council will take care of that. Till he finds
Oh.
somewhere to put it.
Well, I do wish you'd come and tell him that, only ever since Ken's disappearance, his Well, nobody's been able to get through to him.
Well, if you think it'll help.
Yeah, I'm sure it will, coming from you. Oh, do you want to leave Len a note?
What I've got to say to him won't go on a note.
You don't know what you've missed, honest, Mrs. Sharples. 10 minutes in my electric rollers and I could have had you looking just like Bridget Bardot.
Yes, well, in that case, I haven't missed much, have I?
Have you ever had the feeling your journey wasn't really necessary? Off? Perhaps it's the company you've been keeping, love.
Haven't you gone yet?
Now, Mrs. Sharples, remember what St. Paul said. All you need is love.
Car's arrived. Oh, really, Mrs. Sharples? You've not even got your hat and coat on yet.
I haven't said I'm going yet.
But the car's outside,
And
waiting.
I'm not putting one foot inside it until we stop playing silly games and somebody tells me where it's taking me to.
I'm off. I think you're losing, love.
Well, Mrs. Sharples. Oh, I forgot. I thought you might care to wear these. They're only cultured, of course, but I'm sure they'd suit you.
You can spare me your soft soap as well.
Can I say something for a change?
Well, it's a free country.
I've sat here all afternoon watching everybody flustering and blustering to give you a lovely surprise, and all you've done is sit there as stubborn as a donkey. Now, come with me, Miss Nugent. We'll wait down at the car, and if you're not down them stairs in 5 minutes, we'll go in your place, and you will be sorry for the rest of your life.
Oh, you're there, are you?
Well, if I'm not, I'm somebody who looks very much like me.
How very nice of you to drop in.
Why? What's the matter? Can't you cope with a 6:15 rush?
Look, there's more to serving than sticking your chest out over those pumps and making cow eyes at the young bloods.
I suppose that depends on what kind of a chest you've got.
Oh, you cheeky monkey.
Well, you started it. Look, I'm sorry I'm late, but Mrs. Sharples proved a bit more trouble than we thought.
Has she not gone yet?
Aye, we finally got her off after Miss Nugent had blindfolded her and Minnie Colwell led her into the starting gate.
Does she still not know where she's going?
Does she, heck? We should have seen her in the back of that taxi. All it needed were knives on wheels and you couldn't have told her from Queen Boadicea.
Oh, well, she's slightly related, you know, on the mother's side, of course.
Is Mrs. Walker back yet?
Yes, in the back having a tea.
Oh. Did you mention the dress allowance?
Oh, yeah.
Well?
Well, what she said was that she saw your point of view completely.
Well.
Yes, and she sent you this.
What's this?
Well, it's what they call an overall. I think it should just about cover the situation. Do you?
Well, well, you look so blooming pimpernel. Back in England at last.
Alfred, have you seen the last of the wagons over the horizon, then?
Aye, you know, you're about as hard to find as a bobby at a punch-up.
Don't tell me you needed someone to hold your hand in that little lot, did you?
Well, not exactly.
Well?
What did they put on them notices during the war? Careless talk costs lives.
I don't know what you're on about, mate.
I'm on about you, mate, and the community centre.
Come again?
The community centre. I thought you and me agreed we weren't going to say out about it.
I still don't know what you're on about.
Well, did you or did you not tell Ina Sharples all about it?
Did she say I did?
Aye.
She told you that I told her?
Well, not in so many words,
Well,
like.
come on, did she or didn't she? Because of all the things that Ina Sharples is, she isn't a liar.
She led me to believe that you told...
She led you to believe. She led you by the flipping nose, mate. I haven't told a blind soul about it. Never mind Ina Sharples.
Well, she knew something about it.
All right, she's heard a buzz. She's got more flipping grapevines than they have in France. And knowing she wouldn't get anything out of me, she looks around for another big soft Nelly.
Oh, heck.
Hey, you didn't tell her what else is going up on that site out there, did you?
Oh, no, just the community. I wish I hadn't come down here today. Oh, I won't be coming back.
Well, it's all right for them who can stop away, innit? I've got to flipping live with them.
Do you reckon it suits me then?
Yeah, fine.
You what?
Yeah.
Have you any idea what I'm talking about?
I'm sorry.
This thing.
Oh, sorry, me mind was on other things.
Oh, God help us. Don't strain your brain, will you?
Have I said so?
That wiped your halfway, didn't it?
Oh, shut up.
Look, even the Len Faircloths of this world occasionally think of something else.
Just a matter of shutting her up. We've got to make sure she doesn't ask too many questions.
You're lucky, mate. You know the Ina Sharples as well as I do.
Well, there's no to complain about a community centre, is there? And as long as she thinks that's what it is.
So we just keep her shut up, do we? You know, it might be a good idea if we let her leak it out.
Oh, aye. How long do you think it'll be? before somebody looked at the site and said, flipped a big community centre. No, mate, we've got to let them start building, then it'll be too late for questions.
So, we're back where we started. What did you have to open your big mouth for?
Don't tell me, mate.
Oh, isn't it cold out?
Terrible. You on your own tonight, love?
Yes, I'm afraid I am. Ina's gone to... Well, she's gone out and Andrew's gone. And I won't even have the pleasure of Mr. Tatlock's company.
Well, has his daughter been and collected him then?
Aye, kicking and struggling. He don't rightly see eye to eye with his Beatty.
Oh, it's all for the best, love. I mean, it's better than sitting here moping, isn't it?
Yes, well, I think I'll stop in here tonight. Be more lively than it's snug.
Lively? Oh, I were having a fiesta. Except for them two, they're being home tomorrow.
Give us that again.
I told her that it was Tom Braithwaite's department, hiring staff.
I mean, she was sniffing round for a job.
Hey, maybe she was. They'll be wanting, you know, caretakers and that.
We've cracked it.
Hey.
You want that like your eye teeth, mate.
I think we'd better have a bit of a talk.
I'll leave it to me, mate. The sooner the better. Mrs. Caldwell, any idea where I can find Mrs. Sharples?
Yes, I know where she is. Only I'm not allowed to tell you. It's a secret.
Well, I'm very good at keeping secrets, love.
So am I, Mr. Fairclough.
Bet, any idea where...
Now, you mustn't tell him. If you want to know, you must ask Miss Nugent. It's her secret.
Where will I find her?
Oh, well, she was going into Maggie's when I come. Nothing personal.
Hang on there, mate.
I'll take it inside. It doesn't taste the same out here. No.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Sharples. I'm so glad you could come. You know, I'm very pleased to see you here and all. When's this lad of yours coming on, then? Oh, quite a few before Tony. Oh, well, then he's not doing badly, is he? He's on just before the interval. Oh, yes. He does 2 pieces. It's a good place to be, isn't it?
Yes, it's very worrying.
I mean, you hear of all sorts of things, don't you? People losing their memories at times like that.
Amnesia, you mean? I don't think so, not with Ken.
Oh, where is he then?
Hello, love.
Hello, love.
Hello. Mind if I butt in, love?
No, carry on.
Hey, love. Where can I find Ina Sharples? Minnie Colwell seems to think it's an official secret.
Mrs. Caldwell's taking it a bit far, but then she does enjoy a secret. Mrs. Sharples has gone to a concert.
And that's a secret.
Well, nobody will be shot at dawn for revealing it or anything, whatever Mrs. Caldwell may have told you. It's a long story.
Well, I don't think I've got time, but when will she be back from that do?
Well, not late. It's a school thing, children.
Will you be seeing her?
Probably.
Would he tell her I'd like a word with her? Alf and me will be in the Rovers. She'll know what I mean.
Well, what do you mean?
Alf and me will be in the Rovers.
I do hate messages with implications you don't understand. Never mind, I'll tell her if I see her.
Right, thank you, love.
Len, you were going to give Ken's mother-in-law another ring. Anything?
No, love, I just thought it might be a good thing for us to keep in touch, you know. The police here have been in touch with the Glasgow police, but, you know, nothing.
What is it?
Can I come in?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's not mine, love. I didn't order anything.
No, you didn't.
Well, then?
And you didn't come down to dinner either.
No, because I wasn't very hungry.
Perhaps not, but we can't have people starving in this hotel. We've not lost a customer yet.
Excuse me.
Yes, love?
Do not disturb. It says on the door. Don't those words mean anything to you?
You know what I think? It's very often the people who say do not disturb who most want to be disturbed.
Well, that's pretty perverse.
Oh, I wouldn't know about that. It's like people who are standoffish, you know. Got "don't touch me" written all over them. Say they want the world to go away. Well, half the time what they really want is someone to come and hold them.
And you think that's what I want?
Well, you are human, aren't you? We're all the same, really.
Look, for God's sake, what gives you the right to... Oh, never mind. I suppose you mean well, don't you?
That's a pretty terrible thing to say about
Look, believe
anyone
me,
else.
I'm perfectly all right by myself. I don't need anybody's ministrations, however kindly intended.
Perhaps not, but you still need something to eat. Oh, go on, have some coffee while it's hot.
All right. Please, I'll have some coffee.
Well, that's better. White.
Please.
Sugar.
2. Thanks.
Your lad, he's the only one with an ounce of talent. Bless him.
Come along now, don't hog the stage. You've left a chair behind. Our next musician has only been with us a few short months, and I was doubtful at first whether I should ask him to play tonight, not on the score of his musical abilities, if you'll forgive the pun, but because it seemed too soon. In music, everything needs time and patience and practice. But Tony Parsons has made such progress in so short a time that I have no hesitation in saying, well, I'll leave you to make up your own minds. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Parsons. Tony is going to play two pieces for you. First, the trumpet tune and air by Purcell, and then To a Wild Rose by MacDowell. Tony Parsons.
Well, go on. I'm off duty, and I'm a good listener.
Well, why don't we talk about something else?
Well, I don't mind. At least you've decided to talk to me. Well, there's a colour telly in the lounge if you want to come down, or would you like a book? Mr. Davies has got quite a few. He's the manager. I see you as someone who reads.
Oh, and what do people who read look like?
You know what I mean.
Do you like people who read, or like a lot of others, do you think it's antisocial?
It's all right with me. I mean, I'm not much of a reader. Tell me, what do you do?
As a living, I'm a teacher.
I might have guessed. You get to spot people in this job. Teacher. I always think of men who cut themselves shaving and smoke pipes, a bit dog-eared.
No, that's what we do when we think it's a waste of time and we've given up. You can't teach what you don't know. And you can't know what you haven't learnt. And you can't learn what you haven't felt. It's a very silly world, full of very silly books. Just stop me if I go on like this. I don't really mean anything.
It all goes over my head. But I know this. There's no good sitting in a room like this, whatever problems you've got.
I've got a problem on the back of this mattress. Someone must have left them here. I don't know if it's driving me mad or keeping me sane.
I'll have to tell the girl. There should be nothing
Oh, no,
left
no,
in
it's
the
only a
rooms.
box of matches. I don't smoke, but I've been staring at it for ages.
Oh, I'm hopeless at those.
Well, I'm usually quite good. This one's got me.
Well, let's have a try. Here, this'll do.
Right. Now, it's two squares, a small one in the middle, then with 4 matches, and a bigger square on the outside with 3 matches on each wall, making it so that the distance from the little square in the middle to the outer square is longer than 1 match. And then with 2 matches, you've got to make a bridge.
You mean join them up?
That's right.
Oh. Well. Oh, I don't know. What about, what
Yeah,
about
but
that?
they don't reach either end, do they? I mean,
Oh,
you couldn't walk
no.
across that bridge.
No, I told you I was hopeless.
Must be some logical way. Is that?
I don't know. It's just that I'm not really supposed to be in your room. Rules. Well, go on.
No, you keep trying.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? 2 people like us sitting in a hotel doing match puzzles.
Ridiculous, yeah. I buried my wife yesterday. Or rather, I watched other people burying her.
Buried your wife? Oh, love, I am sorry.
It's not for you to be sorry, is it? It's me who should be sorry.
Well, you are.
Yes, I'm sorry. Sorry that I'm not grief-stricken, but I'm not. I'm not anything. I just don't feel anything at all.
Well, he did you proud.
Well, he who wanted you to be here. It was his idea from start to finish.
Well, I haven't had a mission window broke for months, so I suppose it was worth it.
Did you notice I played two wrong notes?
It sounded right enough to me, lad. Come on.
Peter and Susan. They're gorgeous children. Were they...
Oh, no. They're all right.
Well, that's something, God knows.
God who?
I've hated God sometimes.
I haven't got a God to hate. And if I had...
Where are they, the twins?
They're up in Glasgow with their grandmother.
They'll be wondering where you are.
Yes, they will.
Well?
Well, we decided that their grandmother had better tell them the way things happened. They couldn't do anything else.
No.
I should have told them. Should have been me.
Don't blame yourself.
I went in to look at them the night before I sent them off. Have a look at them asleep. You know how you do sometimes. And they were lying there, sort of warm and helpless. Susan had a thumb in her mouth. And Peter was sleeping with a gun under his pillow. And I suddenly felt I wanted to protect them. Protect them from everything.
Well, you're lucky in a way. I've never known that.
I wish I hadn't. Life turns out to be just a bloody cheat, and I can't even whimper.
Can't anybody help?
No.
You won't say no to another cup.
Thank you. No, it was the best day's work he ever did, breaking into your mission. For all I'd have boxed his ears if I'd have known.
Ah, he deserved all the cloutings that came to him. You should have just have asked in the first place, shouldn't you, lad?
You'll never know how glad I am that you had the sense to fight me down.
You are glad, then, the way things are turning out?
Glad? That's not the word. It's made us both happy, you see. I mean, the difference in him to what he was. And that's what matters to me.
That fellow at the college thinks highly of him.
Oh, he does. Have no fears, Mrs. Parsons. He can make a career in music, and a good one, too. That's what he said to me.
Yes, he also said quite a mouthful about time, patience and practice and the rest. It's hard work, lad.
Doesn't seem to bother him. He never skimps. Mind you, he does arrange his practicing to fit in with the football when it's on television.
Ah, well, there's no harm in that.
It must be a satisfaction to you, knowing that you weren't wrong.
Well, we all have our vanity, and it needs flattering from time to time.
Well, Tony, don't do that. Mind your manners.
Oh, it doesn't bother me.
Music's one thing, Mrs. Sharples, but I'll not have you encouraging his bad habits.
Well, if it'll stop you embarrassing your mother, perhaps you'd like to play a tune for us.
If you play too.
What, a duet, do you mean?
Like an emission.
Go on, you manage it very much better by yourself. Come on.
Bravo!
I suppose you're feeling tickled to death with yourself, Annabel Nugent.
Quite gratified, yes.
Well, thank you for all the trouble you took. Can I offer you a cup of tea?
No, not really. I only called to pass on a message from Mr. Fairclough.
Oh, I see.
He and Mr. Roberts will be ensconced in the Rovers all evening. Now, apparently this piece of information should mean something to you.
Yes, it probably means they want a word with me. Did they say what about?
No.
Oh, I suppose they want to talk to me about a new site for an airport. I'm a great expert on that. And now I think it's high time this lad of yours was in bed.
Aye. Come on, Tony.
I brought you this.
What is it?
Times of trains to Glasgow.
Look, please, would you let me organise myself? That's the main reason I came here.
Well, I just thought it would be useful to know when you make up your mind, because you will make up your mind, you know. You're everything to those kids now, however much it hurts, and you know it. I'll leave you. If there's anything that...
No, thank you.
Deathly, innit?
Oh, it's slack enough.
I know what it is. It's this overall, I'm telling you.
You fancy yourself.
No, I don't. It's fellas that fancy me. No use trying to hide it.
I've not seen you trying.
Hey, fellas,
Sorry, love.
have you not noticed anything?
You know, you've been acting funny all night. What's up with you?
I've just took me overall off, haven't I?
Oh, well, that's up to you, innit?
Do you know, they wouldn't bat an eyelid if I took their flaming lot off. It's very bad for me pride.
She's taking her time. Are we having another?
Oh, no. We better not be K-lad by the time she gets here, had we?
I thought it gave you Dutch courage.
That is not only a fallacy, mate, it's an insult to the Dutch. They're a very brave race. Make it half.
2 hours, love, please.
Halves? Are you driving?
Aye, a hard bargain, maybe.
I got a message.
What, that we wanted to talk about the weather to you?
Something like that.
Nice weather we're having, Mrs. Sharples. Hey, Alf, get a milk stout in for Mrs. Sharples, will you? You've been to a concert, I gather.
I've not come here to talk about the weather or what I do in the evening. Now, what have you got to say?
Well, it's just, first off, I'd like to ask you if you've told anybody else about what Alf told you.
You do surprise me.
Well, have you?
What odds does it make?
Please, Mrs. Sharples, you're an intelligent woman.
Now, don't you go flattering me, young fella, my lad, because I can be a very stubborn woman if I want to. Obstinate, cantankerous and interfering. Take your pick. They've all been said before. Tonight I've had the satisfaction of seeing a young lad go places, and if he wouldn't have been there if I hadn't been all of them things.
That's great, Mrs. Sharples, but it's entirely different.
Like as not, but I think folks round here should know what the council's got in store for them.
Well, it's not only the folks round here, love.
Oh, no?
No. Such a leak could prove very...
Very embarrassing.
Right.
Especially for them as leaked it.
Well, you see, these things are very delicate, love. I mean, they're still accepting tenders, you see. You know, all that sort of thing. It's planning. Committees, you know.
Who are you trying to kid, Leonard Fairclough?
Are you ever coming through in, or am I going to be left alone all night?
Will a milk stout keep you company for a minute?
Well...
Right. Mr. Roberts here will put one of his expenses for you. Go on, we pay in the long run.
Right, one milk stout.
Oh, thank you
Milk
very much. Don't be too long, Ian.
No.
I won't try and kid you, Mrs. Sharples, and I won't try and make you privy to council business either. But we do want your cooperation.
Well,
No, let me finish. You see, Alf and I are in a position to bring a bit of favour when it comes to employing people like caretakers for that thing that's going up out there.
Bribery.
Yes.
Mrs. Sharples, it's for you, love.
Oh, heck, I am in demand tonight.
Well?
Oh, all right, I've heard now definite. Like you say, it's still all planning, isn't it?
Right.
Do you think she went for it?
Hook, line and flipping sinker, mate. Now you can get me a decent drink.
I suppose I can't complain.
Oh? No, I'd be glad to. How bad is he? I'll be there.
Oh, I don't know, I went cold when that bell rang. I thought it was something about Ken.
Well, so much for your funny feelings. Who is it, a boyfriend?
That's somebody from Lytham St Anne's, so he said. Ah, hello, lovely.
Oh, hello,
Maggie, me darling.
Hello, Len.
Come and make an old fella happy with the pleasure of your company.
Oh, he's been here a while, then.
Don't be like that, I've only just started. Place your order with Alf there. It's his round.
It's never not been my round, it's always my round. What you having, love?
Lager and lime, please.
Oh, very good.
Have you, heard about Ken yet?
No, what?
No, I'm asking if you've heard. I've heard
Oh,
nothing.
no, I thought you meant for a minute that no one I've heard no.
Why don't you give Val's mother another ring? Len, I can't help worrying about him.
No, I don't think it's a good idea for people to be on the phone to her every minute.
Hello, is that Glasgow 0625? Oh, hello, Mother. Yes, it's me, Ken. Ah, well, that's a long story. I'll tell you when I see you. Tomorrow? Yes, there's a night train. I'll be on that. I'll see you tomorrow. Good. How are you? Kids all right? They're sleeping now, I suppose. No, don't disturb them. What? Hello, Susan. How are you? You heard the phone ring? And you knew it was Daddy? That was clever of you. All right, love. Well, yeah, you shouldn't be out of it. You get back to bed now and Grandma will tuck you up and I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, I will. Yeah, tomorrow. All right, now. Bye. Bye, Susan. Oh, Susan, wait, don't... Oh, Susan.
So, I go off tomorrow morning first thing.
Is he very poorly then, Mr. Foster?
Oh, yes, confined to his bed.
Oh, well, I'm sure somebody else could look after him just as well.
Yes, happened they could, but it just so happens that he prefers me to look after him.
Oh, well, that's all very well, but I'm the one that suffers by it. I'm the one who's going to be stuck up here by myself with everybody gone off.
Oh, well, you just have to stop at home with Bobby.
Oh, I can't afford the coal. It's cheaper to buy a milk stout and come and sit in here. At least I'll keep warm, even if I don't keep much company.
I'm going to tell you something I shouldn't. You can keep a secret, can't you?
Oh, yes, Ian, I think so. Sometimes I keep them so well that I forget what they are.
Oh, well, I want you to be a bit sharper than that. I happen to know that they're putting up a community centre over there and not new flats at all.
Oh, did you hear that off Len Fair Club?
Never you mind, but what interests me is that they'll be needing a caretaker, and I want the job.
Oh, I don't think I can help you there,
Oh,
Ina.
yes, you can. You can keep your eyes and ears open while I've gone to St Anne's. And if you hear out, just let me know. But if you breathe a word to a soul, I'm warning you, it'll be your last.
Well, I won't have anyone to tell it to any road, will I?
She won't tell anybody.
Well, it's quite neat, really. I mean, if she keeps quiet about the community centre, we can keep quiet about the rest of it. And whenever she thinks she's in with a chance, because you and I know, mate, she's not going to get that job.
Of course she will. Pigs fly, don't they?
Right. There we are then, Hilda. Now then, let's see. Oh, it's all right, Mrs. Clegg. I'll reckon it. 10p.
0.10p.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 0.10p. 0.16p, right, Stan?
A total of 0.26p.
I think we can drop the 0 points, can't we? Oh, yeah. 8.5p.
Oh, it's those flaming halves again, isn't it? 34.5p.
Oh, Maggie. Hello, Elsie. Hello. Now then, if I give you a 50p piece, my change ought to be, Stan?
Those halves, isn't it? 15.5p.
Yeah, very good. Top of the class.
By gum, there's no flies on you two, is there?
Doesn't have to be. Money doesn't come easy to us like it does to some folk I could mention. You know, the minute we knew we was going on this Mickey Mouse money, me and Stan learnt it off by heart, that little book what Lord Fish sent us.
Nobody's going to fiddle the Ogdens.
No.
Oh. Well, can I come to you two if I need any help?
Here, I've just thought of something. What did LSD stand for exactly?
Pounds, shillings and pence.
Oh, no. P stands for pence. What did D stand for? An L?
Oh, I've no time for riddles this morning.
It's not a riddle. It's general knowledge, must be. Well, I've no idea what it means.
Oh, but a lot of people didn't either, eh?
No.
Come on, Chuck.
Ta-ra.
It's a flaming good job they didn't ask me what LSD meant when I went for my interview.
You got it?
Yeah, starting in a few days. Just local, you know, demonstrating something.
Well, that'll keep you out of mischief.
Yeah, and that's about and all.
Tiles.
I should know. I know I should know, but I can't just think. Oh, hello. LSD.
You've been talking to Hilda.
Yes, and it's very worrying. S obviously is for shillings. Oh, why I came, I've heard from Mrs. Tatlock in Glasgow. Ken and the children are starting to settle down.
Oh, I'm glad.
I thought I'd let everybody know. She's also contacted Mr. Tatlock at his daughter's.
I wonder if Ken Barlow will ever come back round here. Oh, well. So long.
Goodbye.
Enjoyed yourself last night, then?
Enjoyed?
The Lady Victualers meeting, all that free booze.
Matter of fact, Billy, I did not enjoy myself.
You didn't? What, with all your colleagues and fellow professionals?
Mrs. Ella Bruff, president of our association, took great pleasure in announcing that she had been invited to represent the LVA at a grand was the word she used, opening of a new motel near the M6.
And you think you ought to have been picked?
I didn't say that, Billy.
No, but you meant it. Come off it, Mum. I'm your only son, remember?
Now, Billy, dear, I do not begrudge anybody anything.
Can I come in?
Looks as though you are in.
I wish to speak to the landlady.
You finished, love?
The aforesaid Mrs. Annie Walker.
Speak. I expect it's about more money.
An increase in the number of peas, to be precise.
You can have an old tin full, love.
Per hour.
I thought so.
In connection with the dirt.
Oh, don't tell me Ray Langton's been telling jokes again.
Them navvies.
I get it.
Are you referring to our temporary customers?
Yeah, them fellas off that building site across the road. Have you seen their boots? They cart that much muck in on them. I don't know whether to use a sweeping brush or hire a couple of plough and plant potatoes.
Hilda, I'm not a countrywoman, but you don't plant potatoes with a plough.
No, well, I reckon you ought to pay me more pay for the dirty work or hire a couple of farmhands.
Hilda, in the licensed trade, one has to learn to take the rough with the smooth.
Exactly, Mrs. Walker. Now, you sometimes pay me for doing an ordinary job at the ordinary rate. That's smooth. But when the job's above the ordinary, you ought to pay me.
Above the ordinary rate, and that's rough.
Yeah.
Mum, I agree with Hilda. Well, I mean, the customers aren't bringing dirt in on their boots, but they are putting clean money into the till and all.
Really?
Oh, well, if Alan's got a stinking job to do, I'll give him a bit above the rate. Mind you, I'll get it back off the customers.
How much?
An extra 10p an hour, or in yesterday's currency, 2 bob.
Only as long as the emergency lasts?
That's right.
Very well.
Pleasure to do business with you.
For how long? Who was it on the phone, love?
Oh, your joint vice president, Mrs. Nellie Harvey. She says she wants to see you. She says it's urgent.
Right. 2 simple questions.
Go on.
What does RIP stand for?
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. And what does LSD stand for?
Pounds, shillings and pence.
No, you don't know, do you? Ta-da.
You cheeky. What does it stand for, Ray?
Search me, chum.
Hello, Mrs. Caldwell.
Am I interrupting anything?
Oh, that's all right, love. I was hoping you'd come up behind me, cough in my ear hole. I've just stuck a chisel through my thumb.
Are you in a good mood to listen to a tactful question?
I am not. I've just listened to 2 tactful questions, and it cost me 10pence.
Oh, well, I'll go away.
No, not while you're here, love. But don't ask me to marry you. You're underage. What can I do for you?
Well, them things that they're building
Things.
across the road from us, behind the boards,
Oh, yeah.
they are flats, aren't they?
Oh, well, I can't say, love. You know what architects are like nowadays. They put a building up and then decide what to call it afterwards.
Oh, you're not being serious.
No, I'm not, love. What gave you the idea they're going to be flats?
Are they?
You're quizzing me, aren't you?
Well, yes, I suppose you could say I am.
Well, you shouldn't. You know that, don't you?
Well, you see, I'm trying to compose a letter to Ina to tell her about the weather. Only she always writes a PS, and I can't think of anything to write a PS about. Unless, of course, it were the dates when them buildings is going to be finished. Do you know the date, Mr.
I
Fairclough?
don't, Lou. No, you know what they say about careless talk.
Oh, it costs lives, they used to say in the war.
That's right, Lou.
So you won't tell me?
No, Lou. I can't.
Oh, well then, perhaps, as a PS, I'll tell Ina that you won't tell me.
What does she want? Information? Oh, yeah, about the flats. I think Ina Sharples is after a job as a caretaker.
And you couldn't tell her out?
No.
Well, what's the flaming secret? It's not going to be a nerve gas factory, is it?
I wouldn't know.
Hey, I wouldn't mind one of them flats.
No, then we could look across at our old house and say, that's where we started.
Moving 30 yards across the road is hardly surging forward.
Oh, it's Surge upwards, you know, get a top flat, look down on you lot, you know.
Very amusing if the rent isn't too high.
Well, we're both working, and in spite of impressions to the contrary, we don't take much time off.
I could fix her up from the window, down at the pub, you could send the beer up, and I can send the money down, eh?
Very ingenious.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Walker.
So nice of you to call.
It's always a pleasure, Mrs. Walker.
Likewise, Mrs. Harvey. Mrs. Harvey of the kettle. Do come through, dear.
Hey, Billy, here. Is that same Mrs. Harvey?
Mrs. Harvey of the kettle.
Sounds a good place to get kettled in, doesn't it?
No, she's Joy's vice president with my mum of the Lady Victuallers Association, which doesn't exactly make them pally.
So nice of you to drop in. Do take your coat off.
Well, I'm not stopping, Anne, thank you.
But you must stop. After all, the motto of the LVA is hospitality. And I have a little drop of sherry somewhere. Not for the general public.
Just a tiny one, then.
Do take a comfortable chair. You know, we don't visit each other often enough.
That's just what I'm always saying to Herbert. You seem quite busy.
Well, normal.
Of course, as you know, I go in for the collar and tie trade.
Yes, but as my son playfully remarks, wearing a tie does constrict the throat passage.
You'll not have heard from Mrs. Bruff, then?
Mrs. Bruff, no.
You'd have thought she'd have rung us both and not just me. I suppose the silly woman looks on me as the senior vice president and relied on me to pass the message on.
Message? What message?
She can't make it. You know, to the motel opening. Hello, Emily.
Good morning, Mrs. Harvey. Oh, it's a little chilly, isn't it?
The man on the telly says it'll get warmer.
Oh, good. Is lunch ready, Mrs. Walker?
Oh, yes, in the oven. Miss Nugent, Mrs. Harvey and I are talking rather special LVA matters. I wonder, would you mind having your meal in the kitchen?
Oh, no, of course not. No, I don't mind in the least.
We treat her just like one of the family.
So I've noticed. Cinderella. My joke.
Yes. So, Mrs. Bruff can't attend the opening.
Oh, what a pity.
What?
They're not digging any deeper.
Don't tell me you want to go to Australia.
There happens to be a Roman cemetery under all that mud.
Don't tell me you're that old you can remember that lot. Hi, Len.
Hello, Elsie. Hello.
How about it?
How about what?
Getting us one of these flats.
Oh, yeah, the flats. Well, you know, it's...
Well, we've just decided, you see, that we would like to live over Octavius Flavius, who was a relation of mine.
Don't ask me.
We don't mind if you're a corrupt councillor, do we? What about it?
We'll talk about it.
I will see that you do. Come on. See you, Len.
Hello there. Oh, well. Let's nip in the pub and fraternise. What's wrong, then? We need new friends, that's what's wrong.
very nice sherry, Anne.
Yes, I think so too, Nellie.
So, there it is. Of course, as Mrs. Bruff said, her first thought was to ask one of her vice presidents to go, but she didn't want to cause jealousy.
Really? As if.
That's just what I said. If you ask Mrs. Walker to go, I said, I shall be only too pleased for her sake. I'm sure Mrs. Walker would be your best choice, I said.
Oh, nonsense, Nellie. I'm not really all that keen on champagne and idle chatter.
Oh, sorry.
Miss Nugent?
I just thought you might...
Yes, well, she decided she'd like to enjoy her lunch in the kitchen today. Miss Nugent!
That's a bit chilly, then.
The man on the telly said it'll get warmer.
Oh, well, I'm sure it will, then.
Hello, Ernest.
Just a little matter, Emily. I thought perhaps we could have a chat.
Yes, of course. I've remembered one thing. L stands for Libra.
Pardon?
Sometimes a public house can be too public.
I suppose it can, in some districts. Anyway, what she suggests is this, that you and I get in touch with the other 4 members of the committee to find out which one would like to go.
Splendid idea.
So I thought if I got in touch with Mrs. Jennings and Mrs. Etchells, you might have a word with Mrs. Hagan and Mrs. Fernley.
Well, of course. And if none of them are interested, well, I suppose you or I.
Yes, someone's got to show the flag.
Yes.
It's dead easy, Mrs. Caldwell, is it?
Ah, there's nought to it.
Nought to it. All I want from you is 12 new pence.
It's very nice of the government to put the price of milk stout down. Yesterday it went twice that price.
No, love, you see, it's the new penny that's worth 2.4 times what the old one was.
I understand.
It's more than I flaming do. Anyway, listen, love, all this is old money now, so I'll change it for you.
Let's tell him. Make the day.
Let me finish my pint first.
Well, why did the government put the price of milk stout down?
No, they didn't, Mrs. Caldwell. They've just changed the value of the old penny.
Oh, I understand. I see. Why?
Oh, well, it happened a long time ago, you know.
Oh, yes.
Well, the government at the time
Yes.
decided that foreigners was a bit thick and not as clever as what we are.
Oh, well, that's very true.
Yes, and that they couldn't work out that 12 pennies made a shilling, but 20 shillings made a pound.
Oh, that's what Armistead used to say when he was in France.
Well, now they've made 100 pennies worth a pound just for the sake of the foreigners.
Well, why didn't they leave it the way it was for the sake of the old age pensioners?
Now, there you are, Mrs. Caldwell. This is all new money now, and I've taken for the milk stout, so you're finished with the old stuff.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
You've not touched your drink, Mrs. Caldwell?
No, I'll be back in a second. I'm just going to the toilet.
Well, in that case, hold on, because you'll need an old penny.
Oh, I see. I understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've got something to tell you.
What does LSD mean, then?
Shut your face. I suppose a lot of you are wondering what's being built over there. Well, I can't tell you anything yet, but one thing I can tell you is that part of the project is a new community centre for all of us. Details to follow.
That's one spoonful of sugar for them. See you later.
Where are you going now?
Well, I said I'd go see about getting the mayor's car fixed.
I'll come with you. There's a bit more sugar in that bowl.
That's excellent news.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Walker. Good afternoon, Mrs. Harvey, dear. Something we've always needed.
Well, I personally have always considered that the Road was quite adequate as a meeting place.
Not everybody drinks, Mrs. Walker.
So I have noticed, Mr. Bishop.
Well, you can do what you like in a community centre, can't you?
Within reason, I hope.
Oh, what do you mean, you hope? You mean you're sorry to say?
No, well, I agree with Mrs. Walker. I'd rather come in here for a drink than go basket making.
Well, you don't need to do basket making. I mean, there's handyman courses, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, the second thought, I think I was waiting for a drink, you know.
A community centre is what we make it, right?
Of course, they might need a cleaner. Well, I think you better see Ina about that.
If they were going to be flats, there'd be a board up saying they were going to be flats.
Well, perhaps they don't want to fill up applications before they start.
Well, that's not strictly true, mate. I mean, there's bound to be a waiting list. And did you ever know the council yet that wasn't ready to crow about the number of houses and flats it was putting up?
When does our friend expect to get this lot back?
Oh, tomorrow. He thinks we work miracles, does he? Right, first time unless I've got the job. Told him we'd wave our magic wand.
How are you fixed for doing a repair job?
Ask Merlin.
On the mayor's official car. But perhaps you're not big enough.
Hang on just a minute. Rolls, is it? You say Rolls Royce?
What else?
Yes, we're big enough. I thought you had your own transport maintenance department.
A third of the buses are down with rheumatism of the pistons. They can't cope. Anyway, it's policy to put out a bit of work for private concerns.
Of course, we're going to have to tool up, you know, Billy. We can't tackle an engine like that with a
Don't you
hammer and
want the
chisel.
job?
Yeah, we want the job, but I also want to make a profit.
You'll make a profit.
I've known you years, Alan. There's no mechanic can come anywhere near you. You'll do the job, and you'll make a opit and all.
Well, that's worth a pint for openers.
It's worth more than any pint. It's worth a regular trickle of steady council work, if you two are as good as Len says.
Morning.
Good morning. A regular trickle of work. I played that cool, mate. Oh, yes, very keen, very gushing you are. You played that very well. All we need now is a space.
From what I can make out, the job in Jamaica's still open to Ken.
Then he should take it. Why? Because it'd mean a fresh start in a fresh environment for both him and the children. Another world, you might say.
Look, it'd mean the kids having to make new friends. I think they'd miss their mum all the more with strangers around them.
Well, I don't think it'd do Ken any good coming back here. Not with everything to remind him.
I think you're right, Mrs. Clegg. A new world.
New world, my eye. There's only one new world, and it's this one. And you can't get away from it. Some of us have tried.
You know, many a time when there's only me in the shop, I look to the door and I expect David to come walking through in his overall, nattering about something. You know, I keep my eye on the door, but he never comes. Well, you learn to live with it, don't you?
Well, what about me? I've left home so many times. My suitcases pack themselves every time I whistle.
Well, not everybody's the same. You two thrive on the rough and the smooth.
Oh,
Ken likes it smooth.
Oh, I'll call back.
Oh, that's all right, Mrs. Colwell. Come on, we're only gossiping.
Well, it's about a system I've thought of.
Oh, yes.
Well, if you was to write down all my purchases in a little red book, well, then, when I draw my pension on Tuesdays, I'll bring it in here, and you can take all the new money that I owe you, and then I shan't have to bother my brain.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Mrs. Caldwell, when they open this new community centre, are you going in for Scottish dancing?
Oh, I don't think so. Well, I've given it a lot of thought over the past few weeks about what I would like to do there when it does open.
Past weeks?
Oh, yes, I've known for a long time from Ina. Only I hadn't to say anything.
Oh, yes, I'm sure you'll enjoy it, Bessie. Oh, well, yes, there will be a few bigwigs there, of course. That's one of the snags. Well, now, dear, the year that I was president, I went to a similar function, and it did cost me, quite £30. Well, of course, I know some people would say it's not necessary to have a completely new outfit just for a couple of sherries. But, of course, you have to remember, Bessie, that whoever represents the LVA will have to, well, show the flag. I thought you wanted to go. Oh. Well, I have to try somebody else. Oh, yes, of course, I understand, yes. Bye-bye.
I'm delighted you can go, Olive. Delighted. Oh, lots of people and newspaper men taking down every word you say. So if you want me to help you with your speech, well, of course you'll have to make a speech. Oh, no, just a short one, only about 10 minutes, you know, outlining all the activities of the LVA. I'm really looking forward to reading what you have to say in the Advertiser. Well, no, you only have to write your speech down and then learn it off by heart. Oh. Whatever made you change your mind? No, I'm not annoyed. I shall just have to find somebody else, that's all. Cheerio, Olive.
Denarius. It's Roman. It means 10 by 10. Used to be worth 10 asses. Then the pound sign is for Libra, also Roman, the 7th sign of the zodiac. S for solidi, a quantity of silver.
And the penny sign for denarius, LSD.
Oh, coming here for an education. Is nobody supping?
So being conned all these years. High time, honey. We're donkeys and flipping stars.
Yeah, I never did reckon much to it. Huh? Anyhow, thank goodness the penny's going to be a good old-fashioned English p in the future. And that and you and me'll get a bit more of it.
Ah, well, I'll get a little bit more of it, too, if we go down to the horse tonight and have a few bets with the lads, eh?
Oh, I don't know, Stan. It's not fair taking advantage, you know. A lot of them's dead ignorant in there.
Suppose you think I've been in here drinking?
Well, it does look a little
No, it's
like...
just that I knew you were in the corner shop, so I thought I'd just come in here and wait, you see.
I've printed those negs.
Oh, good. No, it's just that, well, I thought I wanted to mention it. I've had a message from the mission committee. They want to see me.
Oh, dear, it's not about coming in here again, I hope.
Don't think so. I've got to report to them tomorrow.
What do you think it can be?
I wish I knew.
Mr Bishop, you're a clever fella.
Am I?
Tell me summit. When Len Fairclough announced that community centre, why didn't he say summit about flats?
Well, I think we handled them two very nicely. They tried to play it a bit cool-like, but you could fair see your mate's fingers itching to start work on that rolls. And Billy Walker, he was mentally making out the invoice.
I'm not keen, Alf. I don't like being underhanded with me mates. Or me neighbours.
Look, it's for their own good. They'll thank you for it someday. A regular council job will make the canal garage.
Oh, aye. Been handing out favours, then?
Awarding contracts.
That's what I mean. Gah. I think I'll put up for council next time. It's a good number. You don't do any work, of course. You leave all that to your partner.
If you don't like the present arrangement, you know what you can do, don't you?
Yeah, I've just told you. I'm going to stand against you for councillor next time, and if I get in, I'm sure you won't mind running the firm. While I sip tea with the Lady Mayoress. Ha, I'd make a good councillor.
You wouldn't know where to start.
Wouldn't I? Well, I'd close all the parks to the public for a start-off, and I'd fill them with hens and ducks, and we'd sell eggs. There'd be no rates. We'd have a raffle. Prizes would be things like the art gallery and the museum. I'd make it pay, but all I want to know at the moment is where's my handout?
What do you mean?
You fellas going round distributing largeness. I'll settle for one of them cosy little flats you're building. And don't worry about supplying a girl to go with it. I'll do that myself.
I'll bear you in mind.
One of the contractors would like a word with you.
Right.
Hey, Clary.
Yeah?
Have they been pumping you at the pub?
There have been questions, aye.
You haven't said up, though?
No.
Well, keep your trap shut. Once that lot get wind that we're putting a warehouse up...
I feel sick, mate. Rotten, flaming sick.
How's the job going then, Elsie?
Oh, so, you know. I'm demonstrating a gadget.
Yeah, it's a toasting thing, isn't it?
No, it's for making sandwiches. You know, I'm perfect at my patter and I'm great at drawing a crowd round. Then I make a load of sandwiches and they scoff the lot and go away without buying.
Oh, they buy here, all right, only some of them don't bother paying. Hello, ma'am.
Morning.
Had any luck?
Funny, you know. They said they knew nothing about them.
My mum's been to put her name down for one of them flats over the road, haven't you, ma'am?
Oh, well, they're all the same, that lot at the town hall. Fella at the housing department said he didn't know nothing about any plans for this street.
They probably thought you were trying to jump the gun, Hilda.
Yeah, well, they don't like being pushed, you know. They like to plod along. Yeah, perhaps he was trying to fob me off for the time being. Right, ta-ra.
Ta-ra, ma'am.
How do you think I've got a chance?
Well, it does no harm to try, ma'am.
No, one-bedroom place would just suit me and Stan.
Well, wait till they start putting them up and have another go then. I mean, they can't plead ignorance then, can they?
No. No, I'll do that.
I haven't the heart to tell her she's wasting her time.
Well, she has as much chance as anybody of getting one.
What, with an husband like me dad? Huh. Can you see him paying fancy rents for a new flat?
Yes, I know glasses are being pilfered, but breakages are causing concern.
Breakages by customers or staff, Mrs. Walker?
Well, I'm sure you're very careful, but glasses are still being broken.
I see.
Come in. Oh, good morning, Mrs. Harvey.
Good morning, Mrs. Walker.
I'll be with you in a moment. So, what I would like you to do is to get out a complete list of all glasses, both wines and spirits, that we have on hand.
Right.
As quickly as possible.
Keeping them on their toes, Anne.
Well, one has to be firm but fair.
True. Well, I've had no success in finding a volunteer despite my efforts.
Neither have I. You would think at least one member of our committee would want to go to the opening.
You would, Anne, wouldn't you?
Excuse me. I've finished in the snug, Mrs. Walker, so I'll get cracking in here, eh?
Must you?
Yeah, well,
you can see I've got company.
Oh, well, I won't be too ticked. Besides, just take no notice of me. I've given it a good squirt now.
Yes, well, as quickly as possible.
You
please.
won't know I'm here.
Now, where was I?
With a view. La, la. Oh.
Oh, yes. Now, the people I asked were apparently too busy to go, being our president's going to be disappointed if there's no representative at that opening.
She'll be very put out.
Very? Well, I suppose it falls on the poor vice presidents.
You and I.
We can't let the Lady Victuallers down.
Our duty, Anne.
Our duty, Nellie, onerous though it may be.
Indeed.
Excuse me.
But Nellie, don't I recall your Herbert saying how much he relied on you to help him run things?
Oh, it does still. But I suppose he could struggle along for a few hours if he had to.
Whereas, of course, I have an efficient staff and could easily get away. Yes.
Look, Anne, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll have a word with Herbert, and if he agrees, I'll sacrifice myself and go.
How sweet of you.
Oh, it's nothing. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, Nellie. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Oh, any of them buckets going spare?
Well, when we have a special visitor with the old nuts and bolts out of a jam jar, let them use that. Help yourself.
Oh, dear, you can't call that a car, can you? It's more like a luxury flat on wheels. Oh.
Rather special, isn't it?
Yeah, you know all them thingies and lights on the dashboard. I asked Billy if they got a celebrity to switch them on every Christmas.
How's it going?
I shall be ready for tonight.
Have a look.
Well, at least you can say you've set him, won't you?
That's about all. Unless the Lord Mayor would care to swap it for a tin of spaghetti.
I'll make it two, and I'll bet he lets you wind his window down.
It's played out, woman. Overrated.
Oh, I don't know. I look forward to it. I've looked forward to it for every year for the past 25 years.
What's this, Hilda?
And Valentine's Day. Mind you, I've yet to get a card.
It's
off anybody.
It's overrated, I tell you.
And how many cards you get shoved under your door, Elsie?
Well, let me see. There was, and then there was, yes. Altogether, love, none.
Yeah, twice as many as I got.
There you are, you see, it shows you. You men's all alike once the chase is over.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Clegg, for all the trouble.
Oh, it's no trouble, Mrs. Walker. Oh, I'll bring the bread later.
Thank you. How much do I owe you?
That was £5 and 20 new pence.
Sounds more than £5.4, doesn't it?
Well, money is the least of my worries today, Mr. Ogden.
Yes. Perhaps she was expecting a Valentine and didn't get one.
Oh, she didn't. I'd have seen it on a sideboard.
You could stay for some lunch if you like. I'm sure there's enough.
No, thanks. I expect the mission committee will lay on a snack.
Sticky buns.
Well, even missions progress, you know. Mrs. Woodley does a very nice cucumber sandwich.
Do buck up, Ernest. You've only been summoned to a meeting, not to a kangaroo court.
Just natural trepidation, Emily, at anything the slightest official.
I was wondering, actually,
Yeah.
if you might put forward an idea I've been mulling over. For a ladies' discussion circle. Serious discussion, you know, topics of the day, not jam recipes. Are you listening, Ernest?
Discussion circle. Yes, it's a great idea. I'll bring it up.
I'll try to do it with a little enthusiasm for my sake.
I'll do more than that. I'll do it with sparkle. Yes, well, I'd better be off.
Good luck.
Thanks. Think I might need it?
No.
I hope not. Have you been chopping iron girders with this?
Not me, mate.
Well, somebody has. It wouldn't cross-cut a fresh meat pie. Hey, have you got the address?
Yeah, in a minute.
Right, you do the hand base and I'll be there about 3 o'clock, all right?
Okay. Trouble with all these fiddling little jobs is you spend more time humping the stuff there than you do working.
Well, they pay as well.
Ah, not as much as a big contract, you know, long-term stuff. All the big development going on around here, we should be more in on it.
We're doing all right.
Oh, we don't even tender for what's going up on our own flaming doorstep. I mean, we could have tried for a slice of that flat development, but isn't it considered sporty for a councillor to cash in too much on council projects?
Well, there are rules about declaring your interest and so on. Anyway, I thought we had enough on.
Yes, I suppose so. And if I remember right, there was enough snide remarks about the profit we made on the last lot of flats.
There was to make their own chat, yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe when this lot gets up, we'll cop for some maintenance work. How's it going, Squire?
Oh, then.
You were just saying about the new flats.
Oh, yes.
Well, now you're well in with big chiefs. Between you and Len, you should be able to swing some maintenance work our way.
He's a glutton for work, he's my mate.
I'm a glutton for the end product, Leonard. Money. See ya.
Come in here, mate.
Everybody's assuming. We agreed the best policy was to say nothing at all about it. Wait for the official council announcement.
I know we agreed. But supposing it leaks out that there isn't a block of flats going up on that site?
Well, I don't see how it can leak. The office staff have been instructed to say nothing about it. I've just had a word with the site foreman, and he's passing the word round with the lads now.
And he doesn't want to fall out with the locals. Not with that schedule to keep up.
So don't worry. When the time's right, the plan will be disclosed. But that's not at present, Len.
Not even a solitary daffodil.
Oh, give it a flipping rest, won't you?
Armistead gave me a locket one year.
More than I've ever had.
Heart-shaped locket it were with tiny key.
Yeah, somebody once bought me a brooch. It must have cost him all of 3 and 6pence.
Well, not being one to boast, I wouldn't dream of showing off, but good-looking chap bought me that.
Hey, wow, mate, you holding out on us? Was he dark and handsome?
Must think a lot of me.
Anybody we know?
Yes. Gordon. So, I must say I like his choice in Diamantis.
You have us going there for a minute, Maggie.
Give us a quick half bet, will you? Quicker than that if you can manage it.
Oh, thirsty work over there, is it?
Ooh, all building sites are thirsty work, you know. It's all that sand and cement. And if you don't wash it down, you know, your throat silts up.
Hey, what do you mean? There's no sand flying about today. It's sloppy with mud.
Ah, well, I wouldn't know about that, love. I haven't clocked in yet. Ah, that's better. It's my chest.
Makes you thirsty?
No. Why, I haven't clocked in this morning.
Oh, I see.
The foreman says be here at 8 o'clock sharp, you see. Well, I couldn't, could I? It's my chest. I had to go to the quack, you see. It comes on me very sudden.
Oh, I see. When you have to clock in at 8 o'clock.
Aye, well, that's what he'll think when I haven't clocked in, you see. Oh, it's a hard man.
Hey, how long do you reckon they're going to be, you know, building like?
Oh, I wouldn't know about that, love. I'm just labouring there, you know.
Only I'd like to put my name down for one.
I'm not with you, missus.
You know, a flat.
I'm still not with you.
Oh, what you building over the road? I wouldn't mind moving into them flats once they're finished.
I think you've been given a bit of duff information there, love. There's no flats going up on that site.
We were under the impression that that's what the council had in mind.
No, love, you've got it wrong. It's a warehouse.
A warehouse?
Yes, a flipping great big mail order warehouse. Great drink, that, Bet. You're pulling well today. Ta-ra.
A flipping warehouse?
Opposite here?
That's what the man said.
How dreadful.
Well, it mightn't be as bad as all that, Mum. More custom for a start.
What do you think, Mrs. Walker?
Well, my initial reaction is to protest most strongly.
Here, quite right.
The feeling's unanimous.
Is it, heck?
I take it you're the odd man out.
Well, one big slab of concrete's much the same as any other, if you ask me. I don't know what you're getting so het up about.
Environment.
Oh, yeah, what, round here? Spoil the view of the gasworks, will it?
Traffic, for instance. This street's a backwater, an occasional private car. The big mail order business, can't you see the added danger to children and the elderly?
And pets.
Well, it depends upon the setup, doesn't it?
Well, it'll lower the tone.
Yeah. I mean, we're residential and a warehouse is industrial.
Yeah, well, I'll leave you suburbanites to it. Excuse me. See you, Stanley.
Hey, no wonder they fobbed you off at the town hall when you went to make inquiries.
No, they must have known all along what was really happening.
Housing department, it were.
Oh, them clerks, they're all the same.
No, wait, I've just thought of something. Len Fairclough were well in with that lot. Now, he must have known about it and all.
Yes, that's more than possible.
Highly probable.
If you can spare a moment, Mrs. Walker.
Always time for you, Mrs. Harvey. Do come through.
Hey, perhaps Ray can tell us something.
What's that, Oggy? Hey, brown mix, love, please.
The building site.
Yeah.
Well, it's not to do with me. I'm not working on the flats.
No, nor anything else.
You are?
They're putting up a warehouse, Ray.
Well, it's the first I've heard about it.
Len hasn't told you?
No, he's not on to me.
Well, he's a mate of yours, isn't he?
Well, look, him and what's-his-name Roberts are down at the yard now. Go and see them for an explanation. Don't get on to me about it.
Yeah, well, why don't we then? Let's go and see Councillor Flippin Fairclough.
Why not indeed?
Yeah, well, I'd love to come along with you, but I'm afraid I've got to get off to work. It's a long time since I'd have an excuse to thump Len Fairclough round the Herald. See you, ta-ra.
Stanley,
I've got this to finish.
it'll not go cold. Come on.
Why couldn't you wait till closing time? All right, I'm coming.
Well, I've had a word with Herbert, and he agrees that I should go to this opening. Insists, in fact.
What an ideal husband you have, Nellie.
I told him I'm not one to take my duties lightly.
No.
I mean, being next down the line for president, I have to be ready to assume responsibilities. Like I always say, those at the top have to put in something extra.
Yes.
For the good of the association.
Yes.
I mean, the officers must be prepared to make sacrifices.
My sentiments exactly, Nellie.
Well, I must be off. Things to do, plans to make. You don't mind me going, do you? Me? Goodbye, Anne.
Goodbye, Nellie. Hello? Is that the brewery? Could you put me through to the publicity office? Yes, I'd like to speak to whoever is in charge of the guest list for the opening of the new motel. Oh, yes, Vice President of the Lady Victuallers Association, Mrs. Walker of the Rover's Return. Thank you, dear.
Don't blame me, mate. I was just on my way back down to the garage and I thought I'd pop in and mark your car for you, seeing as how you did me a favour.
You know what I mean? Oh, about repairing the mayor's car, yeah.
We'll have to face them then, won't we?
Right, you got no option, mate. Here comes the lynching mob now.
Yes, yeah. Excuse me.
I do.
I assume you already know why we're all here.
Yeah.
See ya. I'll do, mate.
Well, we're waiting.
Well, first of all, I've got to admit I knew about the warehouse.
Oh, Len.
Let me finish, love. I also knew that when you found out, you'd be annoyed. You'd be mad.
With justification, Mr. Fairclough.
But for various reasons, the council wanted it kept dark.
So you put the dubious interests of the council before our interests?
We elected you, Len, don't forget.
Yeah, and we can chuck you out and all.
Well, that's your privilege. I only thought I was doing the best in everyone's interests. I mean, I represent everyone round here, not just one particular street.
Yeah, but we're neighbours of yours, we are.
Councillor Fairclough's right. You've got to see the whole picture.
And you can shut your face, you're only a foreigner.
Well, let's look at it this way. What, Mrs. Cole?
May I sit down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Well, now that you're all settled down, the one important fact is that we're getting a community centre.
Oh, well, I suppose that is something.
I wouldn't argue with that, but isn't that just a bribe to mollify us, councillor?
Yeah, of course it's a bribe. Stanley?
Oh, it stands out a mile.
It's not a bribe.
I think so too. It's my view we should organise a meeting to see what steps we can take.
Well, that's up to you, of course, but the fact is that we, that is the town, can't have a community centre without the warehouse.
More conniving.
No. The position is this. Now, if you remember, that mail order firm was granted a site the other side of the Red Wreck, right?
Do go on.
Later, the council was strongly advised that that site was a better position than Coronation Street for the housing redevelopment plan. So after a bit of negotiation, they came to an agreement.
I see, to switch sites.
That's it.
But Len, I don't see why
Let me finish, love. So you see, the council get the site that they badly wanted. And we get a community centre on a piece of leftover land.
Well... Is it possible to see the plans, Mr. Fairclough?
I can arrange that.
So there you are. You can't have one without the other. So you'll have to make up your minds. And fast.
Well, I've already made up my mind. Stanley?
Oh, my mind's made up.
Mrs. Harvey to see Mrs. Walker.
Thank you. Do sit down, Nellie, dear.
I will not. And don't try buttering me up, Annie Walker, not after what you've done.
And what have I done?
You know very well what you've done. I'll ring up about the motel opening when I get home to tell them I'll be going, and what do I discover?
I was merely trying to help.
We've just had Mrs. Walker on, they said, volunteering to go to the opening, relieving everyone of what they appear to regard as a dreary duty.
That was the impression you gave me, Nellie. All that talk about duty, having to ask Herbert's permission.
Oh, you're two-faced, Annie Walker, aren't you? It's what you've been angling for all along, to queen it with the knobs.
I assure you, Nellie, I just didn't want you putting yourself out.
You should be put out every night, like the bloody cat you are. And don't ever speak to me again.
Goodbye, Nellie, dear.
Oh, ciao, Mrs. Harvey.
Goodbye, Mrs.
I
Harvey.
thought her and your mother were supposed to be mates.
They are.
Well, I took the opportunity to go and
Yeah.
see the plans, and there's one particularly disturbing aspect. The loading bays face straight onto the street.
There you are, you see. No thought for the residentials.
Well, I'm due back at Mr. Bishop's studio, but however you decide to oppose this move, you can certainly count me in.
Right on.
Try. Goodbye. Well, it's not the loading bays I'm worried about.
Well, it's going to be very dangerous, chuck all them big lorries.
And very noisy, Irma.
Listen, my mother spends enough money on the mail order catalogue. She'll go wild with the whole flaming warehouse right across the street.
Oh, be serious. Tell her, Stan.
No, I'll be serious, yes.
All right for Billy Walker, he's dead chuffed in with his garage. More traffic the better for him.
Well, it'll be like brand new when it's finished.
Good. When can the men expect to get it then?
Possibly tomorrow.
Oh, no, the day after, I should think.
Ernest! They do a grand vodka in here. Have a pint on me.
No, thank you. Is Miss Nugent in?
She said she was going to the studio, love.
Oh, I missed her, have I? I think I'll accept your offer of a drink after all.
Vodka?
Sherry, please.
Sherry, please.
Now, look, it's no good us yapping amongst ourselves. What we've got to do is ask everybody to a proper meeting.
The sooner the better.
Tomorrow. Stan?
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Dad,
Yeah.
do you know what we're talking about?
Of course I do.
Mrs. Walker's bed. Thanks, Lily. Hello. Said hello.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Clay.
Miles away.
Yes, I was.
Anything wrong?
No. Well, I'm a little depressed.
Oh, it's not like you. You usually cheering folk up.
My vocation, you might say.
And you're not the only one who can do that. I'm a dab on myself.
It's a personal problem.
In other words, I'm being nosy. And you're right.
Oh, I didn't mean to be impolite. I'd like you to stay. It's a dilemma, Mrs. Clegg. I've just come from the mission committee meeting.
Oh, yes.
Well, as you know, I'm a lay preacher. It's something I'm very keen about.
Oh, yes, I know.
Possibilities are I shall have to give it up.
What, the mission don't want you?
Well, they haven't chucked me out or anything like that, but there's a vociferous minority that considers all our lay preachers should be married. Family men.
Oh, I see. Anyway, if it's only a few, there's no need for a deep depression.
But the implication's still there,
Oh,
Mrs.
take
Clegg.
no notice. They can't afford to lose you.
No, I was thinking of Emily, Miss Nugent.
Oh?
Well, I've always intended
Yes.
to speak to her when the right moment came.
Well, that's fine then. It's no time like the present, is there?
But that's just it. Now, you see, I feel I can't. I mean, it'll obviously appear to her that I'm being dictated to by the committee. I'd appreciate you keeping this to yourself.
You know, he came out of the army with
Of course I will.
Thanks.
Here, I've just thought of something. Mrs. Sharples knew about that community centre and all.
Oh, yes, Ina did mention it to me.
Well, if she knew about that, she must have known about the warehouse and all.
It's not the first time Mrs. Sharples has acted secretively.
No. Well, when she gets back from wherever, she's going to have something to answer for.
That's fighting talk, ma'am.
I know.
Well, I reckon the Mayor of Weatherfield ought to be dead chuffed with that. It's a good job well done, is that?
Should be very well pleased. It's a perfect job.
Fixed with loving care.
Hey, Billy, can I beat the arm?
We test everything tomorrow, love, on a test run.
Test run? For fixing the front bumper bar?
It's all part of service, isn't it? I mean, it might not just be the front bar that's affected.
But you checked everything, and I double-checked everything.
And I say we test run tomorrow.
Hey, what have you got in the back? A super minicar or something? Wouldn't mind going for a run in this. That's if you're going anywhere.
Hey, can I come and all? It's my day off.
Hey, why not? Let's all take the day off. That'll do us good, the four of us.
Oh,
How about that?
Oh, well, if you can't fight, wear a big hat.
Or buy a big dog.
What's up with everyone this morning, anyway? Getting ready for a fancy dress ball?
We've got big do's on, haven't we?
There you are, dressed up like Lady Chatterley's lover.
He wasn't a chauffeur. He was a gamekeeper.
Pardon my literary education. There's Auntie Annie upstairs flinging frocks round in a mad, furious dilemma.
Mad furious what?
That thing with Ornson. Honest, her bedroom's like the January sales. The Brookside Motel people won't know what's descending on them.
You know, it's so good for one's morale to be able to wear clothes.
I thought you always did.
Nice clothes, and I've got so many.
Oh, why don't you wear them more often, Mum? Give the customers a treat.
Good taste is just not appreciated in here, and heaven only knows what sort of people are going to get tramping up and down if the barbarians prevail and that warehouse is allowed.
All makes work for the working man. Food for empty bellies.
Like you as greedy guts.
That or this? Oh, I think this.
Oh.
Definitely.
I'm glad you asked me advice.
You know, I have an idea that this motel opening is going to be quite a grand affair, and I intend to live up to it.
You might get your picture in a glossy magazine.
Curiously enough, the same thought had occurred to me.
If you wear that dress, the Lord Mayor will have you up for every dance.
Oh, talking of the Lord Mayor, his car's still in your garage, isn't it? Now, why not take Auntie Annie along in that?
Why not keep that out?
Please, Billy, I want no more word of that car, or you'll see me getting terribly annoyed, joyriding about in that car of all cars.
But, Mum, it's got to be serviced.
Yes, well, it's no use coming those tales with me, Billy. I know you too well.
It's perfectly above board, but I don't know how I'd be coming along if it wasn't.
Look, I am saying nothing about Alan, but there are certain women in this street...
Name but two.
...who are capable of irresponsible behaviour.
Oh, don't go on, Mum.
I might be going on, but it's my belief that you are being led up the garden. Oh, Miss Nugent, dear, I need your backing.
Yes, I do agree, Mrs. Walker. It's really a matter of community pride.
Pardon, dear.
All interested parties will meet here at midday to decide which would be the most suitable course of action.
Yes. Actually, I was talking about my wardrobe. Anyhow, it's going to be this one. Lucille, come and help me get into it. If the event is recorded in a magazine, I must certainly remember to send a copy to Nellie Harvey. She'd be so pleased.
Oh, she'll be tickled pink. Or green.
Someday I'll find one person to whom everything I say is instantly coherent and comprehensible.
It could be just around the corner for all you know.
Oh, will you shut that door before we all turn to icicles?
Bite in the air.
Can't feel my toes. My nose is nearly dropping off every time I touch the till. My fingers freeze to it. I'm not selling you now cold.
It's Mrs. Clegg, as a matter of fact.
Oh, well, I don't know how hot she is. A bit warmish, I'd say. Maggie, there's a tall, dark, handsome stranger here defying the elements and wanting to see you.
Really? Send him through.
Hey, if it's about the protest meeting, I'm very good at carrying banners. Do you know what they call me down at the hall, Sister Anna?
No, it's a different matter. A private matter.
Oh. Right, back to the deep freeze, but it's your turn in an hour, Maggie.
Sit down, Mr. Bishop, won't you?
I had to come, Mrs. Clegg. I've been awake all night. I've got a strong feeling of crisis. I feel my whole life's in the balance.
Steady on. Have a cup of tea.
Yes, I will, thank you, yes. Just the thing. I want to speak to Emily, honest I do, but, well, how can I with his ultimatum hanging over me like a sword of Damocles?
As I understand it, they merely prefer their lay preachers to be married.
Well,
That's all.
Sometimes they send the lay preachers off to college. It's a great honour, but they insist on married men. And if I don't get married, well, they could always say, well, how could I understand the domestic problems of my congregation, you know?
Yes, I can understand.
Well, suppose me and Emily did, well, get to the altar, and then after she found out. Well, she'd think I'd just married for my own convenience. There'd always be a doubt. She hasn't spoken, or she hasn't hinted.
She said nothing to me.
I can understand the logic of the committee's advice, but you don't get married out of logic, you get married out of emotion.
I've been thinking a lot since you confided in me.
I couldn't bottle it up anymore. I apologise for burdening you like this. I'm doing it again, and I'm sorry, but, well, it helps.
Why don't you tell her the simple facts of the situation the way you told me?
Oh, no, that wouldn't do. That wouldn't do at all, I don't think.
Sure she'd understand.
Told these things quite high-handedly and expected to accept them as inevitable, but we must steel ourselves against this kind of coercion.
Why?
The meek, I'm afraid, just don't inherit the earth. The sad truth is quite the opposite, but we must arm against a sea of trouble. Today a warehouse, tomorrow an oil refinery.
It'll be handy, though.
Handy?
Crescent Supply. Have you seen their catalogues? They've got smashing stuff, and it says, visit our warehouse and see our wonderful range.
Well, that's a rather surprising attitude.
Yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. I'm all for this warehouse, and I'll tell you, the next thing I'll be getting from it, and all looking at this lot.
What's that?
One of them cameras they call Instant, and they're cheaper than what you sell them.
Cold stare for a cold day.
Not the pleasantest of women. You look quite pinched and peaky. Is anything wrong?
Oh, no, not at all.
I've been in, well, in something of a tiz-was, waiting to hear what the committee had to say.
Committee?
I really am most anxious to know how my idea was received.
Your idea?
The ladies' discussion circle.
Oh, yes. No, we couldn't squeeze it on the agenda.
Oh, how disappointing. I was looking forward to hearing their views. I've so much faith in your committee.
No, we were rather busy.
I can appreciate that. Matters of the soul take precedence over matters material.
Yes. You'd have laughed.
Would I? At what?
Well, it sounds rather silly, really. We were talking about Alfie Pownell.
Who?
The caretaker at the college. You know, he's been married 40 years next week. Happily.
Happily?
Yes.
Oh, I'm glad.
This is what'll make you laugh.
Go on.
Do you know why he married Dorothy? That's his wife.
Because he loved her?
Yes. Well, yes, but, you know, 40 years ago, they've got a son in Australia, you know. Anyway, no, it seemed that they were both after the same job 40 years ago.
1930?
Yes. We did laugh when he told us. But he thought, I do like Alfie and Dorothy, you know.
Yes.
Anyway, he thought the best thing to do was to marry her quick. And he got the job.
Really?
Yes, his daughter married a chemist, got his own shop.
Hardly the sort of thing to boast about.
40 years. Happily married.
But just think, Ernest. To marry for the sake of obtaining a position. It's a practical world, I know.
Never mind, it'll be warm and cosy in that lovely limousine.
Bet I'd be all up a match in the petrol tank.
Mind you, we might finish up in a nice centrally heated prison cell for taking away and driving without permission.
I fancy Chester myself on the River Dee.
Ah, there was a jolly miller that lived there once. I wonder what happened to him.
Well, we might see him if they ever get us there.
Listen, kid, Billy Walker might be driving, but we'll be reading the signposts and the alt signs.
Morning, Ginger.
Oh, Billy, where did you get that?
Found it under the front seat. Now listen, girls, the car will be ready at 1 o'clock prompt. So one brief symphony on the horn and get yourselves out there, all right?
Billy, are we taking
Shh, keep it dark. Coach built doors have ears.
One, well, what time is it now to make it?
12:30.
Hey, what about that meeting? Oh, I better go and tell Maggie we've gone.
Well, where is she?
Well, she's at the meeting. She's very anti this warehouse, you know. She's frightened they'll have their own works canteen.
Now, as you all know, it is not my habit to boast.
Here, encore, encore. And
But
for
it
my
does
next
so
song.
happen that I have this rather important social function to attend this afternoon. Now, such a bore when I'd so much rather be with you, my friends and neighbours.
Not to mention customers.
Therefore, I will confine myself to declaring this meeting well and truly open.
God bless her, and all who's sailing. A crash with the champagne now, Mrs. Walker.
What does she think it is? A flipping flower show?
So, I will leave you to your deliberations, just pausing to remind you that these are my domestic quarters, and therefore I trust that you will treat them as you would treat your own.
Elsie, come here. I
I
want to show
can't,
you
love.
the...
I'm in a rush. I haven't got time. Is it all right if I go through a bit?
Yeah.
Have I been blacked?
Well, it's what they call a coven, darling. You see, they've made this effigy of you out of candle grease, and they're all stood about, sticking pins in it.
So they're walking over me grave, are they? Well, I'm not going to stand here and let them kick me to death.
Ray Langton thought pins was too kind. So he's whacking 6-inch nails in with a big hammer.
I suggest a sit-in to show that we won't stand for it.
Not in my house.
A boycott.
He's a very famous pianist, you know.
A human barricade?
What we want's a good solicitor, if we can find such a thing.
I've prepared some forms for a petition.
Ah, you can't beat a good old-fashioned violent protest.
right.
Yes, get your catapults from me. Gas masks are available on generous HP terms when the army moves in.
That's not funny, Ray. And it's certainly not Christian.
Are the fellas that want to build this warehouse, Christian?
Very few of us are these days, Elsie, except when it comes to christenings and funerals. But, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it about time we did something to stop these tin pot barons?
Yes.
I mean, nowadays they can drive a motorway through our homes or an airport, don't even ask us. Never mind. The pen is mightier than the sword. We shall retaliate.
Mr. Bishop has suggested a petition which does seem the most appropriate idea. Signatures in pen and ink. Shall we take a vote?
Yeah, vote.
Vote, yeah.
Well, that seems generally agreed on. All those in favour of a petition, please raise their hands. It does seem unanimous.
I spy strangers are present.
Oh, Councillor Fairclough.
I ask you to leave this meeting.
Oh, give me a chance, Annie.
I'll do no such thing. You saw fit to keep to yourself the facts about the erection of this monstrosity. You betrayed us, whose interests you were supposed to represent.
Can I say something?
Oh, you want to say something, do you? Well, you didn't want to say much a couple of weeks ago, as I remember.
All I want to say is this.
Mate, we are not allowed into your council meetings, are we? So keep out of ours, all right?
Oh, shut up yourself.
Right.
So that's the way you want it.
Yes, councillor.
Oh, let him have a
Save
few
your
words.
breath, Elsie. I'm not wasting mine.
Coach and 4 for Mrs. Walker.
Petition forms are available for signature on this table here.
Will you ask him to wait 2 minutes? I just want to place my name at the head of this declaration. Excuse me.
Hey, just a minute, snatching and grabbing.
Well, it is my privilege, Mrs.
I don't care,
Hey, that's us.
We want to get our names down first.
Oh, look, she's doing it in copper plate. It'll take her until tomorrow. Let's do it later. Come on, let's go.
Come on.
He's still waiting. He says he's got another job at 2:30.
Right, well, once more into the breach, as the bard says.
Oh, shall I go in? Are you going to go
Have a good time, Mom.
Come on, missus, you'll have it Christmas.
Smooth as a baby's, isn't they?
Well, it beats a Fulton bus ride.
Hey, that commissioner at the Midland Hotel.
I felt like getting out and thanking him. It's the first time in my life I've ever been saluted.
Here, listen to that engine. Here, you can hear it. Billy? That's your mother's taxi, isn't it?
Hey, stand by for a 21-gun salute as we pass her amidships.
You can't pass her amidships. You've got the choice, port or starboard.
All right, we'll fly over. Bombs away! Somebody once said a rose was the only car you could walk through and still keep your hat on.
Well, what about Chester? Are we on the right road?
I keep trying to go to Chester, but the car keeps wanting to go back to Buckingham Palace.
Oh, they may not be in. Make it Chester. Next roundabout.
Right. Chester, here we come.
Mrs. Ogden's dead right. And you know, Mrs. Toft, there'll be lorries and vans in and out of this warehouse all the day through.
Yeah, now you've had a long life, Mrs. Toft, and we don't want to see you end up knocked down in the gutter.
It's my belief, too, that these places attract thieves.
Yeah. Now, that ground you're going to build on could have been made into a park with trees and things.
Trees attract dogs.
Well, so do lampposts.
Are you protesting against lampposts?
No. All we want you to do is to sign the petition. Yeah. But it's up to you. You don't have to. It's a free country. But it wouldn't be if some councils had their way.
Here, tell you what, Mrs. Clay. You keep this one in the shop. I'll go door knocking with the other. We'll need a spiritualist to get through to her.
Which warehouse is it you're thinking of knocking down?
Oh, the one they're putting up, love.
Oh, well, there's no hurry then, is there? You can't get it knocked down till they put it up.
Hello, hello. Putting pressure on the old lady to sign your petition, are you? You stick to your guns, darling.
And you can keep your big hooter out, Mr. Corporation Bootlicker. Take no notice of him, Mrs. Toft. Here, I'll explain it to you, Chuck. Now, you know they're knocking down
Use
those
a
flats
ballpoint,
over the
right.
left. Well, they're going to put up a wall, as you can see. And that's not going to be better.
Doing your boots.
Come here.
Well, you're going to test it for me.
Test it yourself. Put your name on that.
Oh, Maggie, if you're going to capture the headlines from Cublington, you'll have to do it without me.
We probably can. You've not done much for us.
That was an overwhelming vote on the council, Maggie.
You're an independent. Hilda's right. Who are you creeping to?
You see, nobody's going to believe me, so I'm just wasting my time, aren't I? But I fought against that warehouse, but I was outvoted. The only concession they would make was for that community centre.
You're right. Nobody'll believe you. I don't.
And as for you, Miss Nugent, I would have thought your mind would be more on wedding bells than on petitions and protests.
Must you always talk in riddles, Mr. Fairclough?
Well, don't tell me he hasn't popped the question yet. He's a bit slow, that lad, isn't he, considering?
Len, perhaps you'd explain what you're talking about.
Well, just that I was told by a mate of mine who serves on a certain church committee that a fellow we both know has been asked to get himself a bride. It looks good for the flock. Better than waiting for leap year, comrade.
Look, missus, I've cut through the lanes, I've taken shortcuts, I've saved you time and money on the meter.
I'm sure we've seen those cows twice.
They probably did, and they were probably so delighted to see you that they all caught a bus and got into another field to see you again.
Now, please don't try to be funny. How's that man ahead?
Mate! We're looking for the Brookside Motel.
Oh, it's 2 miles down that fork. What's going on there, anyway? You're about the third that's asked where it is.
I'm only the driver.
Ooh, isn't it quiet? Everybody else whooping it up and us sat here like 2 old maids. Hey, I'm talking to you.
I'm afraid I'm not feeling very communicative. Shall we clear the pots? I've had a shock. Mr. Fairclough, in his usual, well, to be charitable, let's say good-humoured fashion,
Like belting everyone on the head with the blunt end of an axe.
Something like that, yes. Apparently, Mr. Bishop's got to get married.
Well, I've heard of it happening to women. It's the first time I've heard of it happening to a fella before. Oh, I'm sorry.
Seemingly the mission committee's made a rule.
Well, it'll do Ernest Bishop good to get married.
Somehow I don't think he shares that view.
Men.
I can appreciate his dilemma. Caught between two fires, so to speak.
You and the mission committee?
Perhaps the metaphor is a bit out of place.
Not if he strikes sparks. Does he?
I did have hopes.
You'd have him if he asked.
Perhaps.
Yeah, there's no perhaps about it.
We get on well. I think he was trying to prepare me with a parable earlier.
You're suited.
I think we could be happy.
Well, smashing then. This is probably the push he needed.
Oh, we couldn't do it this way, Lucille. It's unthinkable. I couldn't.
You can't let an opportunity like this slip by.
If he'd wanted to marry me, he could have asked me. Without a push.
Where are we supposed to be going? I thought it was Chester.
It's out. I've just heard the Romans have recaptured it. Hello? There we are, I told you. Road closed due to enemy action.
It's a flaming diversion. You can't travel 5 miles in this country today without some flaming diversion. Little man singing in big office somewhere, dreaming all this up.
I'm sorry about what I said. Carried away I was. You know, it's with being a political animal.
You know you might have been knocked through that wall. You know that, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I might have been, but I wasn't. Conscience?
No. Bored. Fed up with the whole flaming business.
Well, how do you think I feel? I work with you all day, I share the house, and you can't even flaming well confide in me.
I couldn't.
Well, you could at least have got some work out of it for us.
I voted against that warehouse. You can't go asking for contracts after that.
Yeah, well, that's what you say.
That's right, love. That's what I say.
Or maybe it's just as well you didn't get a contract, because that warehouse will never go up.
Right.
We'll see to that.
You'll see to nothing. All you'll do is make a lot of flaming noise. That's what the council expects. But that building will go up and up and up.
Oh, I'm glad you two have come. Old Ogden's just building a guillotine.
Can I have 2 sherries, then?
Sweet like me or dry like Len Fairclough?
Medium.
I'll fetch him.
Definite. Got a position going, you know.
I think I'll go for a walk when I've had this sherry.
A walk in this weather? Where to?
Oh, anywhere. Just a walk.
No, you won't. You'll sit here and think with me.
You can only think on your own, Lucille.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
I just dropped in to see you, you know.
Well, I'm here.
2 medium sherries. What about you, Mr. Bishop? Lemonade?
No, thank you.
I see. Not during working hours.
That's right.
Yes, well, I think I'll leave you.
No, don't go. I've got a dash.
Oh, yes.
Yes, it's that motorised valve, you know, from all angles. Very difficult lighting job. Ferguson's, you know.
Yes, I know. I took the order.
Oh, yes. Well, anyway, no, all I wanted to ask was, do you think you could stay on at the studio till I get back? There's something I want to talk to you about.
I can keep myself busy, I dare say.
Oh, good. Well,
Well,
I'll be off.
well, I don't know, Lucille.
So attractive. I think I can boast a few small achievements as regards raising the level of taste in my little hotel, but it is quite heartbreaking, you know. My regular customers, the salt of the earth when one really gets down to it, they're so unsophisticated in their appreciation of the finer things of this world. Now, I must admit that this decor would be completely wasted on them.
Excuse me, Mrs. Walker.
Yes.
Very nice to talk to you, but I'm wanted at the front entrance. Other important guests. No rest for people like us.
But of course, charming, the whole place, I think.
What's all this about?
Looks like a wedding or something.
Turn back, mate. How can I turn back in this flipping thing?
Billy, I'm dying to spend a penny. Do summer.
I can't do something, can I? waiting for? Get in there.
Welcome to our motel. So glad you could come.
Look, I think there's
It's not a very nice day, I'm afraid, but I expect we can find something inside to warm you up. This way.
Oh, thank you very much,
Oh,
love.
you're sweet.
Thank you.
Car parks are out back, mate. Just follow the drive round. You can slip into the kitchen there and they'll look after you. Get hold of Gladys.
Where is it?
Where is it? How did you get here if you didn't know where you were going?
Listen, mate, when you're driving one of these, you don't need to know where you're going.
This is the Brookside Motel. Official opening. Lots of bigwigs here.
Brookside? What, the new one in Newton and Ridley's?
Aye, that's right.
Mamma mia.
You what?
It's Italian, mate. Well, there's going to be a great time in the old town tonight.
Charming, absolutely charming.
Like it, do you?
Oh, I do indeed.
Forgive my abysmal ignorance, but you're from...
Actually, I'm here as a representative of the Lady Victuallers Association.
Oh, really? In the trade yourself?
Yes, but not on this scale, of course.
Well, what is? Let me guess. A roadhouse? No?
Well, now, let's say...
I've got it. An old country pub. Wealth of beams, log fires, discreet restaurant.
Do go on.
Hunting prints on the inside, quality cars on the outside, catering for the in crowd. How's that?
You're a very perceptive man, Mr. Brown.
I have to be. Ladies and gentlemen, if those in my group would move round into the dining room, we'll begin the grand tour. Absolutely no charge, but do take your drinks with you. We're heading for dry country. Where is your place, Mrs. Walker?
In the outskirts of Weatherfield. Do you know it?
No, I'm afraid I don't. I'm down from London. We're co-opted by Newton and Ridley for this kind of job, so I don't know the area terribly well. But you know what they say, one half of the world doesn't know how the other half lives.
How very true.
This is the Bellman Lounge.
Oh, very nice.
Hence the Bellman.
Yes.
How would you like to be announced?
Well,
Mr. and Mrs. Alan Howard.
look, let's not be daft. Let's just get out of here while the going's good.
Don't be daft. After all the money we poured into Newton and Ridley's, and if anybody wants to know why we're here, we're representing the poor, downtrodden public. And come on, he wants us.
Mr. and Mrs. Alan Howard and daughter.
I had a feeling when I woke up this morning it was going to be one of them days.
Ah, that's how it grabbed me. It all depends on how your fried egg looks at you. Have you ever had a fried egg wink at you first thing in the morning?
Can't say I have.
Well, believe me, Maggie, when that happens, you might as well shut up shop, put your best hat on and hit the road because excitement lurks round every corner starting at Rosamond Street.
But not this morning.
It just lay there staring at me. Oh, but this shouldn't have happened because this definitely comes under the heading of excitement. Have I ever told you you send me?
I'm very pleased to hear it. I wanted a quiet word with Mrs. Clegg.
You never know with them, do you? You just never know.
I'm here again.
Yes, I can see.
Mrs. Clegg. There's no one else in, is there?
No, Irma's out for the day.
Oh, good. Mrs. Clegg, I'm not a man for wearing his heart on his sleeve, as you probably realise. But having confided in you once, I'll have £half a pound apiece.
We don't sell them loose anymore. They're in tins or frozen.
I'll have a dozen tins.
Perhaps I'd better serve Mrs. Ogden.
Bag of potatoes, please.
I'm only next door.
Next door?
You've only to knock on wall if you want out. You know.
Oh, yes. Thanks.
She'll think I've gone mad. Anyway, as I was saying, I've given the matter a great deal of thought, and I've decided not to accept your advice. I'm not going to say anything at all to Emily just yet, so could I ask you to be discreet?
Well, I won't say a word.
Thanks. I'm not a man of violence, Mrs. Clegg, but when I think of that ultimatum... Yes. Anyway...
What did he come for? Confetti?
Do me a favour, Lennon. Shut up, will you? You've done enough harm already.
Yes,
All right. You drag her through the double doors and I'll strangle her.
If I can drag her through those double doors, I'm going to do it my own strangling.
You? I don't know what you're worried about. The kid's having a high old time.
We'll all be having a high old time if we get caught. They'll string us up from the nearest lamppost.
Oh, what have we done?
What have we done? We're here under false pretenses. That's what we've done.
False pretenses we blow. They asked us our names and we told them. And have they chucked us out yet? Have they? Have we told one single lie? Have we?
Well, she has.
Yeah, only one.
Only one. Look at her.
But you mean they're not really your mother and father?
No, they're Mummy and Daddy.
But I thought...
No, you don't understand, you see. Mother and Father got divorced and I stayed with Father. Then Father met Mummy and married Mummy. That's Mummy over there. Yes. Then Mummy and Father got divorced and Mummy married Daddy. Then I stayed with Mummy and Daddy and that's who I'm with now, Mummy and Daddy.
Oh, I see. I think.
Yes, you see, that's what happens when they keep on getting divorced. You end up with a different lot altogether.
Oh, I am sorry.
Oh, you're awfully understanding.
Colonel Cantrill, OBEJP.
Excuse me.
Having fun?
I am, I am.
Well, don't overdo it, love, that's all.
Oh, it's simple, honestly. All you've got to remember is you're my stepfather, you're my stepmother. We live at Tatlot Towers, just outside of Oswald, Switzerland.
He never swallowed all that.
He did all the lot.
Oh, listen, Chuck, you're going to get us all shot.
Oh, ain't he funny?
Oh, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Yeah, let your hair down. Wax bingo into a cocktail any day. Oh, thank you very much.
But what are you going to do if Ernest Bishop does pop the question?
Lucille, there are some subjects one doesn't even discuss with one's intimate friends. Not, and I say this as a simple statement of fact, that I consider you one of those. You're considerably younger than I am, and your knowledge of life is correspondingly less.
Like to bet.
There is more to living than the seamy side, Lucille. There's consideration and understanding and respect for the feelings of others.
Now, come off it. Who was it that unburdened her out this morning?
Yes, I know, and I'm sorry. I deeply regret it.
Oh, right. Well, I know when I'm not wanted.
Lucille, it's not as I don't want someone to talk to. I do. But I wish you'd treat the subject with a little more decorum. Surely you've lived long enough with Mrs. Walker to know the meaning of that word.
It's very cosy, isn't it?
Very. But don't you think we ought to join the others?
Yes.
People will be talking, you know.
Oh, Mr. Brown.
Look, lad, it's more than my job's worth to let you go in there. We've only opened today, and I'm after a pension from this lot.
All I want's a couple of words with me, Governor. Look, I've been chatting up the other chauffeurs, and they took me to wink that there's some of my Governor's mates in there. I just want to tell him to keep his eyes open for them, that's all.
And I've just told you no.
What's that, then?
Eh?
Well,
That's over there.
Birkenhead Road.
Oh, aye. All I want's a couple of words. I've been in and out like a dose of salts.
No.
Well, can you get a message to him?
Am I? Mind you, I can't go barging in there any more than you can. I'll have to wait my chance.
Yeah, all right. Well, as fast as you can. Here. Lend us your back.
Bye. Bye. Hey, Luke. I'm sorry if I stuck my nose in, but... Well, it was you as...
I know. I'm a bit touchy at the moment, Lucille. It's the nature of the predicament, I suppose. I don't know. I seem to step gracefully from one dilemma to another, don't I?
Oh, you know worse than nobody else.
Where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise. You know, if I hadn't known about Ernest and the committee, I'd have been perfectly happy. But now, if he does, I'll never be sure, will I?
Rose return? No, I'm sorry, she's not. Well, could you call back later? Say after 7 o'clock. No, it's a social engagement she's on.
Excuse me, sir. Your chauffeur's sent this.
Thank you.
Well, go on, what does he say?
He says, get your skates on. This is where Mum has come.
Annie Walker here. So, this is the place.
Absolutely delightful. I really must take some time off and come here for the weekend.
Now, Mrs. Walker.
Oh, Mr. Brown, what am I talking about? How could I possibly leave my cocktail bar and my clientele? They need my constant supervision. Still, I must admit it's an intriguing idea.
Mrs. Walker, Mr. Whittaker has some people he'd like you to meet.
Oh.
From your part of the world, apparently.
Really?
Mrs. Howard, I'd like you to meet Mrs. Walker.
Oh, how do you do, Mrs. Walker? You know, for a moment when I heard your voice, I thought you might be somebody I knew. But then when I heard what you were saying, I realized you couldn't possibly be. May I introduce my husband?
How do you do?
And my daughter.
Hello. How do you do?
Sorry I'm so late.
It's quite all right, Emily.
We're a bit disorganised with Mrs. Walker being out for the day.
Trying to catch up on some of these invoices.
Oh. Can I be of any assistance?
Oh, if you'd like to shout them out to me, yes. I'm up to, there.
Right. Mrs. Laycock, 23 Huxley Street. Child Studies, extra prints 3, 15 new pence.
How much? Oh, no, 5 shillings. That was a pre-decimal order. 5 shillings, 25 new pence times 3, 75 new pence.
Sorry, 75 new pence.
That's right.
Hello. Hello. Can I help?
You can help me, Emily. I'm dying for a cup of tea. I'll see to Mrs. Clegg.
Oh, right.
Yes, Mrs. Clegg, I take it was me you came to see.
Yes. She knows.
Pardon?
Miss Nugent. She knows about it. The mission committee, everything.
Oh, no. Who told her?
Look, there's no point in naming any names. Let's just say it was a well-wisher, and you know what they're like.
Right. Miss Nugent!
What you going to do?
Don't bother about the tea, Emily. I'm going out.
Oh.
See to Mrs. Clegg for me, will you?
Yes, Mrs. Clegg.
Oh, do you know, it's gone right out of my head.
British Leyland. You're on the board of British Leyland.
No.
About that you are in the car business, you say?
Well,
Well, now give me a clue. I know. No, I know. You tell me why you're here.
Well, let's say we're representing the poor, downtrodden customer.
I like that. Did you hear that, my dear? They are Oh, of course, you're in the business, aren't you? This lady owns a charming little pub in the country. Well, not so little.
Really? Whereabouts?
If I'm not mistaken, not very far from my estate.
Oh, I'm sure we must have called in there sometime. I'm sure we must have done.
Yes, William?
Can I have a word with you, miss?
Oh, certainly, William. Excuse us.
What brings you to these parts, Colonel?
Oh, they asked me out of courtesy. Well, I sold them the land, you know. Well, I wasn't doing anything with it, and they offered me 65,000. Well, no point in handling it, sir.
Look, I don't care if you're laughing your flaming knickers off. We're going, so tell them what you like, but get them out of here.
I can't tell them the real rotten mayor of Weatherfield's coming. Can they think we're the mayor?
All right, so think of something else and make it quick. I had to bribe the commissioner a couple of quid to get in here.
Mummy, William says we really must be going now. We're forgetting the flower show.
Oh, the flower show? Yes, of course. I'm terribly sorry. We're going to be awfully late. We must go. You'll excuse us, won't you?
Goodbye.
Strange people. Flower show in February? Silly. They do an awful lot in greenhouses these days.
Yes.
Funny lot, though. Oh, they're not quite out of the top drawer, if you know what I mean.
What a very sensitive man you are, Colonel.
You must be mad, the lot of you.
Get away. It's only a bit of fun.
It's all very well you talking like that, mate. I didn't notice you hanging around very much.
I was in the kitchens, wasn't I? With Gladys.
Oh, aye. Who's Gladys?
Never you mind. Hey, there's crossroads coming up. Which way now, sir?
Home.
Don't be blowed.
Oh, we're not going home yet. William, the Piccadilly Plaza.
Oh, no.
Oh, Sharon, enjoy yourself.
Oh, well. Still here, then?
I was on the point of leaving. I haven't got very far with these invoices, I'm afraid. But then I couldn't raise much interest in them.
Well, we'll just have to see what we can do about that, won't we? Now, where were we?
I'm sorry, Ernest, I really don't feel up to it.
All right, stay where you are. Listen to what I've got to say.
I'd rather not.
I said stay where you are.
Ernest,
and don't interrupt. It's another hypothetical case of a chap I know who's, well, not the most forceful personality in the world. And this young lady for whom he has a very high regard.
Look, Ernest, it's no use. I can give you the answer now.
Who says I want an answer? I'm not going to ask any questions.
But,
And I said, don't interrupt. Well, this chap would like to have thought that at some future date he might ask this young lady to do him the honour of marrying him. Not yet, you understand. He's not ready yet, not financially or any other way. But progress was being made. And then matters were taken out of his hands. This chap's a lay preacher.
what a coincidence.
Yes. And the committee at the mission where he preaches decided, in their wisdom, that he should be married.
I know all this.
Yes, it was a predicament, wasn't it? Does he propose to the young lady, realizing that she might find out?
As she did.
And get the wrong idea, as she did? Or does he go to the committee and tell them what they can do with their job and their conditions? Well, I'm pleased to report that this not very forceful character today did just that. And I'm even happier to report that the committee apologized, asked him to stay, and appreciated that important matters such as marriage should be decided by him in his own good time. So there's only one worry left to this chap. Whether the young lady is happy with things as they stand, such as they are.
I'm sure she is.
Oh.
In fact, you might even feel like getting on with those invoices now.
Right. Yes. Right. When you're ready.
Mr. and Mrs. David Collins.
Collins.
16A Osborne Court.
Court.
Wedding album.
Wedding album.
Oh, you're not kidding me. This is the Piccadilly Plaza.
You're dead right. Get a whiff of that.
Oh, that's something I've always wanted, to arrive at the fish and chippy in my own limousine.
Do you suppose we can hurry up and get this thing moved out of here?
Go on, I'll look after the eat.
Oh.
Hey, get us some deep-fried scampi and some fish and chips. Miss?
Oh, certainly, William.
Go on.
You can save your breath, you know. There's a mail-order warehouse going up out there. I know you don't like it, but there's a community centre going up opposite Maggie's.
Oh, thanks very much. Drunks throwing bricks through my windows every night. I've had enough of that.
It won't be licensed. The brick throwers get tanked up in here.
Oh. Well, there's plenty of other good reasons for not having it.
Excuse me, do you mind, sir? Thank you. Evening. Got me poster? Well, it's only right, isn't it? I mean, I had every sympathy with Her Gracious Majesty when they built that hotel overlooking her. Nobody likes to have folk groping in on them.
Especially when they're in the throne room. Sorry, Hilda. Oh, and talking of Her Gracious Majesty.
Hello, Annie. How did it go?
Very well, thank you, Len.
Hey, the mayor and his missus were there. Did you see him?
No, unfortunately, I didn't. Well, tell us all about it, then.
Well, let's just say that it was very interesting. And now do excuse me. I'll join you again when I've taken my clothes off.
I'm getting out.
I caught you, twit.
Oh.
Hey, mind you, it is an idea. She did play Lady Godiva once in a pageant. She could do it again, you know, with hands off Coronation Street tattooed on her back.
Keep that in, I like it. Well, are you joining us tomorrow on our little march, then?
If you want to get blisters on your feet for nothing, mate, you carry on.
Oh, that's the way you feel about
Get
it.
away.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're wasting your time.
Rosita. Hello, Ken. How are you? And the twins, are they all right? Oh, bless them. Yeah. Yeah? Now, let me see if I've got that straight. You're coming back this weekend. Mr. Tatlock's coming back from his daughter's. Your mother-in-law and the twins are staying with him, and you're staying at Minnie Caldwell's. Oh, I'm not just a pretty face, you know. Yeah, of course it'll be all right. You're right. Bye. Hey, look after yourself. Bye.
You make me sick, the lot of you.
You can talk till you're blue in the face, Len. We're marching. Yeah. Get a bit of weight off if it does nothing else.
Aye, there's a thought.
You make me sick, the lot of you. You wait till they build it out there. They're buying their booze in here and their groceries from your shop. I mean, that'll be the best thing that ever happened then, won't it? But just because the council says it's okay, it's automatically wrong with you. I wish you lot would get on the council. See what it's like. Trying to please you lot.
Ah, we've hurt his little feelings.
Oh, Ken's coming back this weekend.
Oh, good. Tell me, love, has Billy got back yet?
Well, if he has, I haven't seen him. I wonder where he's got to.
I've no idea. I wish he'd get back home.
Billy! They haven't got none of that scampi. We're getting served now, but they haven't got none.
Have they got any steak and kidney pudding?
Oh, I don't know. Come and have a look at the list.
Hey, just my luck. Fancy hitting a Rolls Royce.